now we are starting, and it is one of the rare episodes where you guys were aware that we were starting when we started. Welcome to the Unpaid Nobodies, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
yeah, man.
Honestly, it feels like it's been a while for me. It's been a long week.
Yeah. No, God, I mean,
it's
It's
a
been a
long
weird.
week.
It's been a weird week.
we'll get to it at the end, but like, yeah, I'm going through some stuff, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Just talk about music for 2 hours with you guys. Like
We are back to our therapy
Yeah.
sessions.
This is going to be a good one. And also, this was a fun. We're doing our mid-year review, kind of reflecting on everything from the past 6 months. I think it's been an interesting year, to say the least. So I'm excited to see. I don't know. Did you guys go back and listen to a bunch of stuff? Because I certainly did.
I went back to a few of the things. Like a lot of things I realized has actually been in my rotation. So
Yeah, the new, like, a lot of it has still been in my rotation, and we'll get to that, like which albums are still there and which ones like I went back to. But yeah, no, it was this was fun. It's been a colorful year. I don't know if I would say a strong year.
that's a good word for it.
Yeah, it's been a colorful year.
We've had people change genres. We've had all kinds of stuff going on, to be honest.
It's great. A lot of stuff, a lot of different sounds. I also think, like, low key, I'm starting to think maybe it's not such an unhealthy year.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's
not last year. Last year might be better than 2016. I'm gonna say it.
I gotta think about that. You know, I'm
That's-
committed to 2016.
that's tough.
2016, 2013. I like bleed those years.
I know, dude. 2016 and 2020.
2018. We
20
can't forget 2018.
2018. You're right. 2018 was a great year for. Something I was looking at the other day was like, low key. 2019 was one of the best years for movies in decades.
Really?
Dude.
2019 and then 2013.
Yeah,
Was
2013.
extremely good for movies.
Yeah, but like 2019 had like Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, Avengers Endgame. It's I would have to look at it to know more, but like, yeah, no, crazy to look at things by years. I'm not someone who usually likes like analytical analysis, but I think separating it by time is super interesting and valuable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense.
no, I think there's a reason why the 2020 episode was so popular with our fans. Maybe we should do a year review. I don't know. If you're listening, also like and subscribe. We're mostly on YouTube now, so like and subscribe, I guess. And if you're listening, let us know if there's a year you want us to review.
We can't do 2016. It's too easy.
It's too easy. Yeah, no, we got to make that one of our
one of the milestones.
Yeah, one of our milestones. 100%. All right, Purvis, you want to run down the albums being released? It's a thin week. It's not super. Yeah.
It's a very slow week. How this week went is essentially how I looked at this year so far. But we have DDG coming out with Baby It's Me.
Yeah.
We have Lil TJ coming out with 222.
All right.
We also have Zach Bia, who came on the radar a little bit, I think.
I'm familiar with some features of his, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, this is something I'm very curious about. So, and I see, the A and B list talent there. Dude, I'm excited to talk about Don Toliver today. I think we're going to have a nice Don Tolliver conversation.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, this is something I'm excited to check out. Like I saw it, I think, in the Instagram you sent. And yeah, no, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so that's on my radar. And then we have DLC coming out for Scary.
I've already listened to it.
I surprisingly haven't.
I've listened to it. I've listened to it like 3 times.
I hate it,
dude.
Well, it's only 4 songs.
It's only 4 songs, dude. The titles are the greatest titles.
Out of control as before.
No, way worse. Way worse.
Way worse. Okay, let me look.
No, let me do. And Jasper, don't step on my toes with this one. This is for me.
This is a special moment for
All
you.
right, these are
for you and only for you.
Yeah, dude. These are the names of the tracks. Guess what, bitch? We back, ho. Incredible.
Great intro.
Hermanos.
Not bad.
Yeah. Tell me where to go. That's just kind of like more basic. And then my favorite. No.
I'm genuinely curious because it cuts off.
That one is like the most like normal song on the EP. Like,
no way.
Yeah, it's a gospel sample. It's like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
No, I have to listen to it.
And like, it's like getting buzz on the internet because like, there's a line about Baby Keem. JPEG Mafia has a line about Baby Keem.
It's just a random diss. Yeah.
I don't think it's
not a diss. It's like a cheap shot. Whatever.
I don't think it's a cheap shot. He has the line like, "I'm not Baby Keem. My cousin never gave me shit." And
that's a cheap shot. That's a cheap shot.
I don't think that's a cheap shot. If you're gonna have your cousin co-sign, it's hip hop, dude. If you're gonna have your cousin co-sign you, you got. I'm sorry. Like I think
that's funny. That's fun, and I'm okay.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's like disrespectful or anything. No. You know, like Baby Keem's not mad. Like
in a week, we're gonna hear a response.
Yeah. Well, no, his fans like were incessant, and they like ran JPEG Mafia off Twitter.
No way.
Yeah.
Real quick,
it's fucking JPEG.
He's JPEG. Favorite album of the year. JPEG's incredible. He's kind of a diva. He's kind of dramatic. Like I think that's fair. Baby Keem does not have like a notoriously toxic fan base. Like, so yeah.
Real quick, if we can slide in a little meme review. I saw a great meme this week about Baby Keem.
Oh, I actually kind of wanted to go through my thoughts on this because I've listened to it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, well, basically, like, I don't know. Like, this is like an example of like, oh, I get why these aren't on the album. Like, they're really good songs. They're fun songs, but like, better? They're good. They're good, but they're not better than anything's on the album, right? You know, like No Repeating is like a genuinely good song, but like, there's already a few gospel-ish songs on the album, and it's like a particularly long one. And it's like, okay, I can see why you don't want to put this one on. Tell Me Where to Go is like a very laid back, like old school hip hop track. It's very traditional. It is not weird. It does not sound like the rest of the album at all. It's very good.
So these are the normal tracks, it sounds like.
No. Guess what, Bitch We Back Ho just sounds like a song off the album. And Hermanos is amazing. It's, you know, but also like not particularly better than anything that's on the album. You know, I would say, you know, even though I like Scaring the Hoes more than this album, I don't think it was quite like, what was the one? The Estate Sale.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, yeah, that's like top 10.
That was like, yeah. Like, and like, look, it's called DLC pack number 1. I assume that, you know, that implies the existence of 2. So like, you gotta
I'm looking at the album cover or
yeah.
You call it.
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it says a warning. This product will scare hoes. Scaring the hoes will become addictive.
It does.
It
does. Dude, the only thing that's annoying is that like every girl in my life that I've played this song, like this music for, is like, this is kind of cool. I like this, and it's like, God damn it! Like,
this is supposed to.
Fantano specifically made a video about this called "The Hoes Aren't Scared."
Yeah, yeah. Like it actually like does not seem like it was very effective at what it was trying to do. Like
okay, but let's be honest, you're not hearing this like. It's anywhere like, around the house.
Oh, you're not hearing this at a party. It's just like, you know, every female reviewer I know liked it. Like,
it's like Pokemon. Like, it hurt itself in its confusion.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Also,
and that is appropriate for JPEG and Danny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to interject just a fun little thing. I don't have the picture because I can't find it online. But basically, I saw this meme today where it was like the format where it's like every imitation has its cheap copy, right?
Yeah.
And it was Melodic Blue and then SOS because the album covers are similar.
I get that. Okay. God, I like that.
It does. They did seem like they were in conversation with each other from the covers, even though They're
very different.
They're very different albums. And like Melodic Blue is good, but it's not as good as SOS. Come on.
No,
yeah.
I've heard some of the deluxe songs. Actually, I'm impressed.
Yeah, like the deluxe tracks on the Melodic Blue were very good, right? Yes. Melodic Blue is a good album. I'm not saying it's bad. I just think SOS is incredible, right?
Well, yeah,
like
it's hard to
if
she's on her second round of tour, it's a good album.
Yeah. All right, and then the singles. We have two. We have Quavo and Future with Shid. That sounds incredible. That sounds right up my alley. Yeah.
And then the exact opposite effect.
Post Malone Overdrive. I'm sure I'll hear it. Like that's why
you like it or not. You know the album's coming out. Like
I know.
I believe this month.
Yeah, at the end of the month. Yeah. No, I don't hate. I'm not a fan of Post Malone. I don't hate him, but it's just like I know I'm going to hear all of his songs.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come
like. Up. There's no way to avoid it, so it's like I just let it come to me.
4 years. No, I lied.
Yeah, no, he dropped an album last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah,
I didn't listen to that one.
I hear it was actually one of his better ones.
I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, I know that the sales numbers didn't pan out for that one, but I'm curious.
No, my girl liked a lot of tracks on it actually.
I like a lot of stuff off of Beer Bongs and Bentleys, and then I actually really like Hollywood's Bleeding.
I agree with you. I'm with you on that one. I think Hollywood is Bleeding is.
Do not let Brandon go on his Stony rant, please.
No, I won't. Already. No, you're right. I'm not going to. But yeah, no, I agree. I like I like quite a few songs off Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I like quite a few songs off of Hollywood is Bleeding.
Maybe he's on the trail upwards.
I haven't listened to his last few things just because like I'm at my Let It Come to Me phase with Post Malone. But like
you're at your Post Malone limit.
No, that was a stretch, dude. That was a stretch, Mission Fantastic.
Like, I don't make the rules.
Yeah,
Mister, you gotta add another. Okay. Anyway,
that was a stretch for you, Richards. All right.
Speaking of stretch, you guys see that stuff about Plastic Man? People are petitioning for John Mulaney to be Plastic Man in the new DC movie.
Oh my god, I would love that. So we can't get into comic books. We can't get into comic books right now. I gotta pull this back.
It's gonna be fully derailed. Like we're not.
John Mulaney's gonna be canonically Spider-Ham and also Plastic Man in two separate comic universes.
Dude, I'm telling you, we get to 10,000 listeners or subscribers or whatever the fuck. We'll start Unpaid Comics. I'll do an entire weekly show.
I'm not gonna be there.
I would. Yes, you will. Like,
this isn't optional, Purvis.
It's on Tuesdays now.
We're all in it together.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But yeah. Purvis. Run through the news.
Yeah, we got
a little bit of news. Yeah.
We are going to have a listening party coming up.
Yeah, this is big. This is cool. Like, this is a cool.
Absolutely. Travis Scott is back. He's going to Egypt on the pyramids. Well, probably not on the pyramids. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But he's going to be in Egypt near the pyramids and having a listening party for Utopia.
No, that's really fucking sick. Is it going to be streamed?
I am hoping so. There's been no confirmation on it. I have seen there's been a couple of like what's the word? Sweepstakes or something like that, where essentially
to send people there. Yeah.
Yeah. He signed with Jordan. You can get free tickets there and fully paid everything. I don't know. I'm super excited about it. I'm here for it. Travis is coming back, and he is once again
this is
an insane rollout.
This is the next level. I'll keep it real. I thought the Utopia rollout so far has been good, not great. I did not think like anything so far has been particularly noteworthy. This is fucking sick. This is great. Yeah, no, this is great. Like, I do think the Air Jordan thing, like the sending people to Egypt. I'm just like, Egypt is kind of politically unstable. I sure hope that doesn't blow back in his face somehow.
We're gonna cross our fingers.
Yeah, we're gonna cross our fingers. Like, I think it's cool. Like, I do think it's cool. Like as a brand activation for Jordan. Like on that side of it, I think it's sick. But I'm just saying, like, it's like this is, I don't know, not a no risk thing, Travis. And
I mean, if I win it, I'm
Yeah.
willing to.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Argo 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Argo 2, Astro World.
Oof.
I mean, to be fair, I think he posted like a story today of him on FaceTime with Jordan. So like, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
He has
no.
to shoot with them.
Yeah,
Get off.
no. It was a. I am very happy with the rollout of it. That is just like my one little like what like. But yeah, no, this is sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like this is a very good rollout.
Yeah, and on the other hand, the other probably
Big
biggest news that we've gotten so far this year, the pink tape has officially gone number one. It's been a 6-month drought, maybe longer, since we've had a hip hop.
It's the longest. It's the deepest into a year before a hip hop album.
Like 25 years or something. It's been
a very long time.
A very long time. And glazed on it last week, but Uzi did confirm that Love Is Rage will eventually come out, but not like right away. He did say it's going to be a couple months. So I mean, I'll take it. It does kind of soothe it over, but like huge news, hip hop is back. Nah, I'm not gonna say.
I don't think. I think the 6-month drought thing is certainly interesting, and I think that makes this extra noteworthy. I don't think it's like a big systemic indicator yet. I just think all the pandemic albums came out last year, and then like people are now touring those pandemic albums, so now there's just naturally a drought. And like it'll even out in the years to come. So like I don't think it's like a big deal, but I think it's a big deal that this ended it. And like,
and I also think.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was going to say, and I also think on top of that, I think at the end of the year, hindsight's going to be 2020 because like we're going to talk about it later, but like other albums we expect to come out probably will be surpassing Pink Tape.
Yeah,
in my personal opinion.
I definitely think like Utopia. I totally think is going to
exactly.
100%.
Yeah, like there's no way. Like it's I applaud Uzi for what they did and like for the performance they did, like sales wise, like streaming wise, and like engagement wise with this. But yeah, no, Utopia is gonna
blow it out of the water.
I'd be super curious to see what it's like in terms of difficulty or in terms of like what it takes to get an album to number one that is say like 30 to 40 minutes versus like the length of a project like this. Because regardless of how you feel about it critically, I feel like it's a bit more of a challenge to get like such a long project up there in terms of those numbers.
I do think if we're going to bring up numbers, I do think like there's a critical piece of context with the Pink Tape, and that is that it's the official release of Just Wanna Rock. And like all the streams from that. And like, look, that's just the way it works. This is not some like special case for Uzi. This is how it works. Take the W, you earned it. But like, I think that's a critical piece. Like, I think that alone was going to put that at number one. I mean, not that alone. Like, it didn't take nothing, but like that was a huge advantage.
Like half of it.
Yeah, that's a massive advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like what he earned by putting out such a popular song. So like,
absolutely,
totally fair game. Yeah, credit to them. Completely fair game. But yeah, I think that's a critical piece of context because like looking back on it, like with that in mind, I'm shocked that we like the second we saw the Pink Tape, I'm shocked we didn't immediately go, oh yeah, this is going to end the drought. Like just because, just on the Just Wanna Rock alone.
I mean, if you want to like literally get down to it, because that's how Billboard is measured. It's on sales. Just Wanna Rock is 447 million, almost 448 million. The next closest thing is Endless Fashion with 16.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Next closest thing is Flooded the Face with 21.
I was going to say, there's no way Endless Fashion is more than
No. That's the third one.
No, the first song is
if you add every other song, it probably isn't even half of Just Wanna Rock.
Yeah. But like there are other factors. Another thing important to keep in mind, I actually learned this last week. Spotify is not the most popular streaming service in America.
Some research on it.
Yeah. So I think like that's like I think that's an indication for sure. I think that's evidence. I don't think that's proof. Right.
Yeah.
And like there's other things like
matches.
I think another thing is the fact that like Uzi's audience skews so young. I don't think it's unlikely that like they're still buying shit off iTunes because they don't have debit cards for Spotify. Like I'm willing to bet that's a huge factor. You know, 100%. Like, you know, like you need a debit card. Now,
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe the culture has changed, but like growing up, like I wasn't able to like get any kind of subscription services until I had a car of my own, and I didn't get one of those until I was like 18.
I feel like family plans are just so prevalent though that like that's not really may not be a factor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I think iTunes would be a stretch, but like, can you buy music on Apple Music, or is it still technically called like
No,
iTunes?
it's Apple Music, but you can buy stuff on the store still. It's it's interesting because like something I've been like wanting to talk about, but like we haven't had a week that's like so dead enough that I can put it in because it's more of a well, no, because it's like more of a political rant, and I need to get like I need time to break it down, so I don't want to get too into it. But I think that's interesting is like iTunes is mostly used to like launder ideological like points. Like a lot of like very evangelical and conservative artists will only put their stuff on iTunes and drive people to iTunes because it's not as popular and it's easier to get to number one, and then they can use that number one hit to validate their beliefs. Right.
That happens a lot.
That
I've
is
seen
a
that shit.
very common, like it's like ideological, like it's like laundering of like popularity. I think it's super interesting. So like,
what's that guy's name? With like the blonde guy who's got like braids.
Oh,
and
like
tattoos.
Tom McDonald.
Tom McDonald. He's
he
done
like
that.
pioneered that
multiple
strategy,
times.
and like like that's what they do because like no one does it. So like their small group. You know, there's a reason why Tom McDonald has like no streaming.
I'm sorry. I'm so invested on like how Apple's revenue is broken down right now.
Oh no! Don't even look at it. It's depressing. It's so depressing.
Like, I'm wondering if people are still buying songs. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Don't forget to give them 30% of that App Store revenue.
Isn't that standard though?
No. Apple takes a greater cut than Google or Amazon.
That's not true.
It is.
No, it's not.
This has been a hotly debated thing for a long time. Like there's a lawsuit going on over it specifically right now. Google's cut is like 25%.
I'm aware of the lawsuit and I agree with it because I don't think Apple should have sole control over what gets put on the iPhone. I don't want to get into this, but I know for a fact that that's industry standard. Like, because I was following there was a Twitch creator strike, and because Twitch takes 50-50, and they were advocating for the 70-30 split.
So since 2021, Google has had it where the first $1 million in annual revenue that a developer makes is basically 15%.
What is after that?
That's what I'm saying now.
After that, it goes up to 30, but it's after $1 million in revenue.
But like, if you're something like Tinder,
sure. I mean, if you're a massive company,
which is the majority of the App Store, let's be real. Like, let's be real. That's the majority of the App Store is like these giant tech conglomerates. So like, I don't see that as meaningfully different at all.
Oh well, Apple apparently said they were going to do the same thing where they were going to cut it down to 15.
From 15 to 30.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually happened or not, but I remember there was the whole suit with Epic Games too, where it was like Epic versus Apple, and that was like a big issue.
That one I was definitely on. Epic Games is also a giant corporation, so I don't like to say I'm on their side, but I certainly agreed that
the lesser of two evils.
Well, I agreed with the point that they were making that like Apple shouldn't have sole control over what goes on iOS devices. They're basically computers. You should be able to. I don't think sideload is the right language, but like you should be able to download stuff straight from the internet the same way you could do with a PC or a Mac. Like that is. I actually have very few issues with the way Apple runs the App Store, except for that part. Like.
Yeah, that part I don't like.
Yeah, no, that part has to change. I don't like it. So yeah, that is my feelings on that.
At least the fee doesn't apply to free apps I'm looking at.
Well, what it applies to is in-app purchases, which is a big deal. So the whole reason it became a lawsuit in the first place is because Epic was offering the purchase of their currency for like Fortnite and stuff through their app in a way where they didn't have to charge the extra percentage fee.
Yeah.
And then it meant that it was cheaper to buy it from them because they were then like if they did it through the App Store, they had to add that on. And Apple sued them and said, "Hey, you're violating our terms of service." And Epic said, "Hey, you countersue. This is not how this is supposed to work. This is monopolistic behavior."
Yeah, no, I agree. We need to have some kind of playing off thing. We can't keep going on 5-minute rants about Apple lawsuits on a hip hop podcast. We gotta have. I'm sorry. If this was the Oscars, I would have started playing you off. Like it's just and the other Revolution Now. Like social.
Play me off, Johnny.
Yeah. So socialize Apple. Like
Yeah.
Nationalize iPhones. Unironically. Anyway.
G Herbo was arrested.
G Herbo
for illegal.
R.I.P. the GOAT. Like
G. Wow. Like what a surprise.
Free G Herbo. He has done nothing wrong. Like
this is a crucial step to your development as a rapper.
Yeah, no. And also, I'm very excited for the NRA to inevitably come up and defend his right to own a firearm.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Everybody says 1,000 things for that. Or it's not gonna happen. Anyway.
I'm gonna say it's the SpongeBob meme where it's like the eyes looking different directions. Like he got arrested for an unlawful gun charge. We got to defend him, and then also he's not white.
Yeah.
And it's just like
what button do you press?
Yeah.
We also have Earl Sweatshirt is coming out with a 10-year anniversary for Doris.
That's
mini
sick.
Tour. I'm super excited about
Dude,
this. Honestly, I know you guys did say you didn't want to go. I might still go.
That's fine. You should do it.
Like I might still go. Doris is so good.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna revisit it. I always bounced off Earl Sweatshirt. Like I always thought he was cool. I always thought what he did was like really creative and artful. But it was just like
smells like bitch in here.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. I'm gonna
I got Purvis mid sip.
Dude, I love Loiter Squad so much. Look, hot take: Loiter Squad is the best thing Odd Future has made, including Blonde. Like,
no, that's not wrong. Wait.
You said including Blonde?
Yeah, the Odd Future family tree. Everything that goes back to Odd Future. Yeah, Loiter Squad is the best.
Like that.
Yeah, Loiter Squad's the best thing. Like,
fair enough. I'll give you that. No, I'm super excited about that, and I just love the fact that like I actually live in a city that like gets tour locations.
Unless you're Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia, you rat
yeah,
bastards!
really
I will never forgive you. They knew I would become too powerful, and they teamed up with the state.
I would have leveled up.
They were like, "This motherfucker's getting Run the Jewels already for 3 nights. Fuck him."
All right, we could drive up to Milwaukee. I'm sure
it's too powerful.
God, imagine going to Wisconsin to watch people perform music.
Yeah, that'll be something.
The only thing I would ever, and this was announced this week, the Michael one-day show in Atlanta that Killer Mike is doing.
Oh yeah.
If I had the money for that, I would totally fly out to Atlanta for the night.
I'm on the way.
Yeah, I would. If I was 2 tiers up at my ad agency, I'd have that plane ticket. Like,
look, I don't need any excuse to go to Atlanta. Dude, if you're going to Atlanta, I'm on the way.
I want to go to Atlanta, dude. I really want to just hang. I was telling like Rachel, I'm like, we should go to Atlanta, like just to see it, like
just to be there, at least for like a week or something.
Yeah.
Also, you told me that's the one place I could take you for a strip club. So
yeah, 100%. That is like when in Rome.
You got to make our way there.
Like,
I was just thinking like Brandon's gonna get to the show, Purvis is gonna be still at the club, like lost in the sauce. Can't escape.
I would for
it's
sure.
Like never making it home.
I want to go to the
bank account emptied.
Yeah, I would be very into it. And I normally think strip clubs are like kind of gross. Strippers aren't gross. People who go to strip clubs are kind of gross.
Yeah,
not all of them, but like a lot. Like
I'll give you that.
not super irrelevant side cut. Have you both seen Mystery Team?
Yeah, a long time ago.
The floor is wet. It smells like cold cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've seen that. I'm mad that I know what that is.
Dude, I love Derek comedy so much. Fuck,
early Donald Glover.
Dude, I remember that. I remember the Mad Hatter sketch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make a light post out of cinnamon buns. Like,
I finally went back to watch like Key and Peele, and I can just remember.
I'm watching Key and Peele.
Scene with like he takes out a fucking Velcro wallet, and he just has coins, and he's
yeah.
My favorite is
like, what are you doing?
It's literally the first sketch ever on Key and Peele, but I think it's the best one. Is the I said bitch. Like, I also love the football player ones. Like,
the baseball player ones do the slap ass.
Yeah,
those are pretty
good.
Oh, the Terry's one with the guys on the plane.
The scary Terry's, yeah.
Unless they get froggy. Like,
So good.
dude, I love
what,
you.
what a combination.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I am very shocked at who became the bigger success coming out of that show.
Really?
I love both of them.
Both really
I love both of them ever since Mad TV, right?
Yeah.
I was always slightly more of a fan of Keegan-Michael Key. I always thought he was kind of funnier.
Well, he's found really good work now as an anger translator for Kamala Harris.
I love that. Yeah. But man, has Jordan Peele
took off like a
off.
rocket.
Like, I did not think like watching like Scary Terry's or like anything and being like, oh, that guy's gonna redefine horror for a generation. Like,
it's true.
Yeah.
Honestly.
All right. Speaking of horror, like,
yeah, I was really about to say.
like,
we also got another tour announced. We have Antagonists coming out. I'm shocked. I didn't expect Playboy Cardi to go on tour at all, just considering his character. But he's going on tour with Ken Carson, Short and Lonely, and Homicide Gang.
Yeah, he already did a tour for Whole Lotta Red, so this is like the repeat, I guess. And it's the hello, I like money. Like,
I was really about to say
it's kind of weird to like do a tour without a album release to go along with it.
Right.
And I'll keep it real. I enjoyed seeing Cardi at Summer Smash. Like, I was like, cool, happy I got to experience that. I don't gotta do it twice in a calendar year.
Nope.
Like, I would look, if he was at a festival I already wanted to go to, like if he was at Lalo one year and I'm like, oh, he released another album, I'll check it out from the back again. That sounds cool. This is too much. I'm 30. Like, I don't need to go to the Antagonist tour. I think it's very well built. Like, they really found like a pocket. Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And
so,
like we discussed with the way, compensation happens for these, it's like, it's a fucking racket. You show up, you scream over your songs for an hour, and you get paid how much? Like, damn.
It just works.
Yeah, it just works. Keep it rolling until people stop showing up.
Yeah.
If you have 5 people show up, it's quick.
No.
But anyway, we have
this one's cool. This is cool. This is cool. I don't know exact. Is this animated film at the Emmys? Because the Emmys is traditionally for television.
So here's the thing.
Is this
Intergalactic is considered a television series, not a film.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I don't understand why. It's only had one installation.
I also was don't get me wrong, this is cool. I don't give a shit about awards, but I do like when things I like get awards.
Same.
Yeah,
I'm validated.
Well, it's less like, I think things that pass my intellectual rigor, I don't mind if we all take a second to clap for it. But I don't really give a shit two ways. But this is cool. And I don't understand the programming. I thought it was odd that it was the Emmys because it was very clearly a movie. I didn't understand, I know TV movies are a thing, so I thought maybe it was a category for that.
Yeah, if you look up Intergalactic on Google, it's considered a TV special.
That makes sense. Because Netflix is a TV provider. I know they do make movies that qualify for the Oscars.
The TV provider?
Yeah, that's really what they do. That's their streaming service. That's how they're classified. Yeah. But at the heart of it, their business model was always built on TV.
It's more TV than movies at this point for sure, because they do so many original series
and more in the past. I would say it's more it's movies now more than ever, and it's still mostly TV. Which I don't think is the problem with their business model per se. But all right. This is cool. I'm happy because he's getting his flowers. Intergalactic is really good. It's better than the album it was paired with, even though I like that album.
The show. Is it a movie, a show, whatever you want to call it?
Call it whatever
it's
you want.
Really, really good. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended more than the album, which I almost never do.
I had a friend who I recommended it to tell me that he really hated it and had to turn it off. And I was like, he told me the reason for it is the way it's animated, and some people, it bothers them. It bothers me for some things, but not for others. It depends on the animation style, but the low frame rate, where it's It's not like 60 frames per second where there's like a smooth, consistent animation. It's like dropped
It's the
below
Spider-Verse
24.
style.
Well, sort of, yeah. It's like certain elements of Spider-Verse do it, but like the entire film does that.
Yeah.
And there are other like
Well,
TV shows.
Spider-Verse was like the first one to do that.
No, the animating on twos thing for motion, for like hybridizing it, yes. But TV shows have been coming out in this style of like dropped frames for a long time, since like the mid 2000s, because it saves money on animation. But Intergalactic does this where it's probably like, I don't know, 18 frames per second or something instead of 24. And some people just like the motion, like motion sickness and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's interesting because like my girl is an animation nerd. Like that's her favorite thing in the world is like, and like it's like anime, but it's not just anime. She likes everything from around the world.
So there's
I'm in the middle of a sentence, and
Sorry.
she's like, she loved it. She was like, I love this movie. I love the way it's animated. Like I think it's gorgeous. So like, I mean, to each their own, but like I thought it was great.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
A good example of another show that does the like low frame rate thing I'm talking about is The Dragon Prince, which is like a kid's show on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a little choppy looking.
It seems like
it's
so from what you're saying, and I don't know, I'm not a professional, but like, it seems like that's almost like a cost saving measure as opposed to like artistic expression, like it was in Spider-Man.
I think for some studios it's definitely cost saving focus.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the case for Intergalactic, but I think in the case of The Dragon Prince it was, because it's a Netflix original, so they get like a certain amount of money to produce, like however many episodes.
I thought Intergalactic was just, and like a bunch of movies are doing like the animating different things on different, Puss in Boots did that. The Ninja Turtles movie is doing that. I think it's a cool technique. I don't begrudge them. I just thought they were doing the Spider-Verse thing, and I thought it looked dope.
No, yeah, it's nice.
All right, so let's get to the meat of the episode, boys.
The mid-year review. Should I break down? It's a lot of albums.
It's a lot of albums. Yeah. How many?
Valid.
Yeah, this is a lot of albums. I have not listened to all of these, but I have listened to most of them.
Right. So I did the majority of the highlights, in my opinion. So give me a moment to go through them.
I thought this was a fairly thorough list.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting off with, we have Bodie James with, or used to be with Griselda, but the same style as Griselda, coming out with Indiana Jones. We have Ice Spike coming out with like ... question mark. We have Trippie Redd coming out with Mansion Music. We have Lil Yachty coming out with Let's Start Here. We have Don Toliver coming out with Lovesick. We have Yeet coming out with Afterlife. Young Nudie coming out with Gumbo. We have Slow Tie coming out with Ugly. We have 6 Lack or Black coming out with Since I Have a Lover. We have Danny Brown and JPEG coming out with Scaring the Hoes. We have Larry June coming out with The Great Escape. We have Daniel Caesar coming out with Never Enough. We have Ray Shrimmerd coming out with Shrimp for Life. Jack Harlow coming out with Jackman. We have the combination of K Tronada and Amine coming out with their collab. We have Kantramine. We have Dave and Central C coming out with Split Decision. Janae Monet has came out with The Age of Pleasure. We have Gunna coming out with A Gift and a Curse. Young Thug, the week after, came out with Business is Business. The Alchemist came out with Flying High. And then all this stuff is super recent. We have Killer Mike coming out with Michael. Little Uzi Vert coming out with The Pink Tape. Conway the Machine coming out with Pain for Profit. And also coming out with Won't He Do It? Because Griselda can't just drop one album.
No, they're addicts.
We have G Herbo coming out with Strictly for My Fans 2. We have Tyler the Creator dropping the Estate Cell. And then Metro Boomin with the collaboration with the movie Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So I made this list earlier today. The first thing and you kind of hinted at it earlier.
Like general thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna say I honestly, coming into this, I've been saying it for a while. I was like, man, this seems like a slow year. But like actually writing down all this stuff and what I've actually listening to, it's an okay year. It's not like a bad year at all. It's just it's a lot of artists that I don't necessarily listen to all the time, and there's a lot of change in the standard, I would say. You have a lot of things just like completely switches what we know. We have Lil Yachty coming out with not even a hip hop album at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we have the return of Six Flag coming out with like a true love album. Scaring the Hoes has never had anything like that before.
Yeah.
I would say. We have the return of Gunna and Young Thug after this like whole situation with Rico.
Yeah, then that's huge.
Like
Yeah.
that's insane. We have Killer Mike dropping
his first solo after like a legendary duo streak.
A life-changing album
Yeah.
where like he's literally has stated all the albums going forward are going to be kind of different. We have Little Uzi Vert going #1 as the first one, and like it's 10 hours long.
We have the estate sale, which like I would normally not count this as like a release, but like, I think given the context of that specific release, I think it's valid. Yeah,
I feel like more than 5 tracks it's basically like another disc, so I would consider that to be like a standalone. Like it could be a standalone project. Yeah,
low key for me, it's completely ethereal. It's like a vibe. Like I just kind of like look at it, and like the estate sale just felt like another disc. Like whether it's enough like how many songs qualifies as that, who's to say? But I think in the context of just like it as a piece of work, I totally think it counts. Like,
absolutely.
All right. So
do
we want to do like round robin, like just albums we want to talk about, and that way, like if we have overlap, we don't do it twice.
Sure. Yeah.
Purvis, what album are you dying to talk about after revisiting?
Personally, and I don't know if you all have listened to it, so that's why I want to go over this one first. Daniel Caesar.
That is my #1 to get to.
It is such a good album. Like I'll admit I don't go back to it all the time just because like my R&B phase isn't hitting as hard right now.
Yeah.
But like it's so polished, it's so well put together. There's great music videos with it. That's the one that like he hit all of my expectations. So
yeah. No, I'm not super into Daniel Caesar. Like just like listening to his old stuff. I have heard pretty unanimously that this is a massive step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So there's a handful of these I have not given their due yet that I still have to get to. But yeah, no, yeah. So
what's gonna be this first one then?
Yeah, Jasper. What's one that really stuck out? Oh, we didn't put Belly's mixtape.
We didn't.
Yeah, Mumble Rap 2. Yeah. I feel like everything we covered we should have put in here for sure. But like yeah. So
for me, man, I guess it's tough because like do I retread ground I always talk about or do I actually talk about something else?
We're gonna do this a few times.
I listened to Won't He Do It for the first time today in preparation for this.
Oh, because I have thoughts about Won't He Do It. So yeah, I listened to Won't He Do It.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm here for this.
Yeah. Let's talk. Because I think this is an album that I wish we would have discussed earlier, but we just haven't had the room for it. So
this would have been a nice deep
dive. And who knows if we have another slow week between now and the end of the year, we'll do a deep dive before the Golden Nugget special. Although Michael deep dive guaranteed before that special. I'm telling you.
We will be coming back to
we will be coming back to Michael when we can.
What was your thoughts, Jasper?
Yeah,
I mean, after one listen in the car, so I wasn't like the most focused as I could be, but it was good. I mean, I put it very much in the same lane in terms of like enjoyment as I do House is Burning, but I thought it was more interesting musically. And obviously lyrically it was a lot tighter and there was more focus on lyrics in terms of like the way it's mixed and the way the vocals are presented. Also, I think West Side Gun being featured on it is hilarious just because whenever I hear him on a track, he's super entertaining. And also he's the king of like someone I wouldn't expect to sound like that when I see his picture.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's solid. There were a lot of tracks on there that I did enjoy.
We gotta see.
Yeah.
That song Kanye is wild.
I think it's really interesting. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's really interesting.
I actually I'm a lot more with you than you would anticipate given my predisposition for Griselda. and their affiliates. And I think this one, I really liked it. It would certainly be in my top 5 of the year so far, or whatever. Definitely top 10. But I do think it is a little bit of a victim of his own success, because it is. Have you listened to God Don't Make Mistakes?
Nope.
It is nowhere near. This is like God Don't Make Mistakes is like a 10. This is the exact same album, but a 7. Right.
Gotcha.
And it's like, it's good. Like, it's really, really quality. Right. And like, if this was like without the context of that album last year, like this would be huge, you know?
Yeah.
But I just think like I think it's a really respectable album. I appreciate his output, because he actually put out 2 this year. And Pain for Profit, it's a mixtape. Like, it's cool. I liked it. I listened to it a couple of times. I did not. It is not a focused, like, there is a level of effort in Won't He Do It that is self-evident. That is just not in that next one, which I don't bemoan him because of his output, you know?
Yeah, my reaction to this album was pretty much like, I was listening to the car and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That was like pretty much where I was at as far as like, I would listen to this again, but it didn't really grab me the first time.
I would listen to God Don't Make Mistakes before you listen to this again.
True.
That is true.
Yeah.
It is in comparison. I think he branches out a little bit more in this album and just
fair.
Yeah, there's different sounds for sure.
Yeah, no.
Some hit and some don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, on one end you can say that it's more ambitious and more creative, which is true. But you could also say it's less focused, which I think is also true. And so that's just how I feel about this. I think it's a really quality album. I'm happy we're finally giving it a talk to, because like Conway's a legend. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know,
he's very unique. And what I would recommend, Jasper, when you listen to him, or just like Griselda or any style like that of hip hop, just focus on the words.
I know. It's tough in the car though. I'm just like focusing on driving and then the whole thing.
I actually think Griselda is great driving music, way more than Scaring the Hose.
Are you going to talk about Scaring the Hose right now?
I guess now, because I just brought it up and it's a natural segue. Yeah, no, this dude. When it comes to numbers of times listened to, this is my number 1 album of the year by a country mile. There is nothing that comes close. Dude, I put on this album once on Sunday to just be like, okay, let me refresh myself, because I haven't listened to it straight through in maybe a month. And I've listened to it like 7 times in the week. Like, it is.
Jesus Christ.
It is. Now, the thing is, it's not necessarily the full package for me, right? I think it is incredible. I think I love it. I think the creativity in the music and the way it just kind of stands as just a statement piece of like, fuck you to every current trend, right? I think that's what's interesting. I think that this is kind of like as equally subversive from like the trap sound as it is from like the alt R&B sound, as it is from like the drill sound. Like, it doesn't buy into any of those conventions, right? So musically, I think it's just top of the line. And I think the lyrics are there, right? But I think some of its creative goals, like musically, de-emphasize the lyrics. And like, that is like, I'm a lyrical listener. Like, that is always going to be forward for me. So it's hard to say if it's necessarily like the best album of the year or like favorite album of the year. But as far as like, you know, holy shit, this is going to be something I listen to all the time for the rest of my life, that is this album for me. And like, yeah, I get that it's weird and like off-putting, but like, more things should be, in my opinion. Right. And like, I also like have completely come around on the mix. Like, I think like once you listen to it a few times, which I get is like an ask, and if you don't like it, you're probably not going to get around to it. But once you like, I don't think it's mixed weird at all now. I just hear everything the way it is. Right. So yeah, musically, I think this is easily one of my favorite albums in a long time. Yeah. It is not like it is. And also I think like the success of this album is insane. Like, the fact that this got on Billboard at all is insane. Like, yeah, it was never going to be number 1. The fact that it is on it in any capacity is like an insane achievement. So like, yeah, is it the most popular album of the year? No, but it is incredible. It is intentionally abrasive, and it is one of the most popular albums of the year. Like,
No, yeah, that's very true. I think looking at the artists individually, like thinking about Danny Brown or thinking about JPEG Mafia, like in their fan base, they're gonna show up for them,
Yeah.
and they're always gonna support them.
Yeah.
So I can see why it's doing successful, but like mixing the two together, it is purposefully trying to scare the host. So like it's such a
but it puts
weird
but
concept.
it puts all the like a gargantuan amount of effort into like getting into that really abrasive sound and pulling like a lot of like unheard of like types of sounds and rhythms and stuff. And also something I've fully come around on are like the weird interjections. Like I think those are such a production flex, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel when I hear them. Do you guys remember like the Donald Glover Sway freestyle that's like really famous? Okay, so there's like a very famous like Donald Glover.
Oh wait, where he's wearing like the fur hat,
and it's the over pound cake, right? And
yeah.
He's freestyling, and then in the middle of it, he stops freestyling. He just starts talking, and then he starts again, and he's just effortlessly on rhythm, and it's incredible. That's how I feel about all those weird punctuations. Like, yeah, it's like he just put a Nextel chirp in the middle of the song. But it comes back and it's completely on beat. Like it is not an interjection. It is organically part of the song. And yeah, it's like annoying and abrasive, but like the effort was put in to like make sure it fits organically. So like I think head to nuts, this is like everything I wanted in an album like this. And yeah. No, there's another album that's like, ooh, is it my favorite? Like I don't know. But yeah.
I approach in the sense of like it's meant to be an experience more than anything.
No.
Like when I approach an album like this, like I think the quality is very good, and I don't think like I'm not gonna like judge it in that sense. But like when I sit down and listen to an album like this, it's meant to be a listening experience more than anything else. So like I need to mentally prepare myself for it, and this is what I do want to go back to, but I just don't have the mental capacity.
Yeah, I can't begrudge you your personal taste, right? It's just it's insane to me.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's insane to me because like this, it's almost like a response. Like I open up Spotify and I'm like, what's the first thing that I want to listen to right now? And I look at like 20 albums, and like more often than not, it's like it's Scaring the Hose. I want to put on Scaring the Hose right now.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me because on the one hand, it's like I'm not the biggest fan of Danny Brown or JP Mafia as solo artists, like for their own stuff, but like I like a good number of just like individual standout tracks and things from each one of them. Combined, it just produces an aesthetic that I just like was not expecting. And I mean, I listened to it through I think 3 times. I didn't go back to it for this, but I didn't really want to in the same sense where it's like I know what to expect going into it, like the feelings and the vibe of the album. But like it's technically it's very impressive. Is it my cup of tea? No, not really. But like it is what it is, you know?
And like I definitely get that. Like that is a degree to this album. You know, like it is, and it's funny.
Also that Dolomite looking ass album cover.
Dude, that album cover is the best album cover of the year.
It's so silly.
Dude, that is the best album cover of the year. I want that. I don't like I don't want to get a bunch of vinyl because I don't need another thing. But that is one where it's like, oh, I really want to hang.
Do it.
No, I've been thinking long and hard about
it, you coward.
I am intentionally and like trying to avoid like just consumerist shit like that. I am doubling down on like the hobbies I have now. I've gotten into bourbon, which I have been for years. I've gotten super into coffee over the last few months.
Really?
Dude, yeah, I'm weird. But yeah, no, Scaring the Hose, album of the decade. Like
okay, valid. Should we
bring up your next one. Yeah, bring up your next
one. Okay, but another one I want to talk about, and again, it's just because like I don't think it really got like much attention at all. And one thing that stuck out to me was the actual performance that he gave at Summer Smash. I wanted to talk about the Trippie Redd album.
Okay, cool. I haven't listened to it. Me neither. Yeah, Trippie Redd. Yeah, no, talk about it though.
Yeah, it was not a highly streamed album or anything like that. I've listened to all the Trippie Redd's recent albums as they've come out, and I visit Mansion Music, and like, there's a bunch of really good songs on it. But like, what I will honestly, and this might sound weird, I give props to Trippie Redd in his music selection and knowing his fan base, because like, I don't think he had a single song from this album doing his performance at Summer Smash, and I think that is like 200 IQ play. It's such a big brain move to actually play music that is dedicated for that fan base that's gonna know it.
So what do
And
you
like,
mean by that? Like, I think I understand what you're saying, and if I do, I agree. But I go into that more.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like a lot of times artists, when they, and I don't think this is a bad thing, but artists can get a little bit too tied to their new music because it's what they're passionate about. It's what
You're
they
only as
like.
good as your last album, like that whole
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what they focus on.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so like, they drive that down, and like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say Trippie Redd fits this category of like, I miss the old person, but like, how many times do I miss the old Chance? I miss the old Kanye.
No, you're totally right.
Old,
And like,
you can go on and on.
And like, nobody cares when it's Jid in the Forever Story. Nobody cared when he did 2 songs off DiCaprio 2 when we saw him. But like, when it's someone like Trippie Redd playing at Summer Smash, yeah, I totally get it. I thought you may have meant that like this was sonically different. Like maybe this was more of a rock album. Maybe it was more unlike his earlier stuff. That's what I was thinking. Maybe you were going.
I see. I mean, it still fits in the sound. It's nothing. He's not branching out with any new genres or any new crazy things. I mean, the beats are dope and the new experimental that he's messing with and new lyrics. But like the mindset and the capacity to go like, okay, my fan base just may not know this newest album as much as the other ones. Let me give them a good show and a good like. Let me bring up the enjoyment of the actual venue and actually play like my bangers. And I think that says a lot at a young age to actually have that mentality and know to do that. I
Also,
like the Kid Cudi set, but I think some of the newest stuff like Intergalactic just didn't really fit in the crowd, and it might have worked to play the older stuff. In my personal opinion.
Except for those girls behind us who were screaming the lyrics to Angel. That shit was hilarious.
They did love that song.
Yeah, no, I didn't bother. It didn't bother me, but like I don't hate that argument either. Like,
yeah, I would say one area where Mansion Music is a departure is aesthetically in terms of the visuals that have come with the album. You look at the cover artwork compared to everything previous. It's very different.
Mansion Music, right?
Yeah, it's very different. Like there's, and who knows, you know, his show when we saw him was very minimal. Like his set was minimal. It was just like basically bleachers with some lights.
Yeah, it was not. There was not an insane amount of stagecraft there, right?
He was walking around smoking a blunt. That's what he did.
Walking around smoking a blunt, walking up and down the bleachers. I don't think he had any smoke either, or like any fire. Did he have?
Yeah,
did he have fire?
Like that. Even there weren't transitions. His transition was ending the song, lighting his blunt again, and then going, "All right, go." And then the DJ plays the next song.
That being said, it worked. Like,
it worked.
It wasn't.
I am not upset about it. I'm just saying, like, you're right. It was just as basic as you.
So yeah, I wonder if maybe he's going through a little bit of like an aesthetic pivot in that way, and like getting a little more minimal. But we'll see.
I mean, it's interesting you just brought that up. I went back to look at his discography on Spotify here.
Mm-hmm.
He has all of his old albums a sped up version. He's added it. I don't remember seeing that.
Those are just so huge on like TikTok and stuff.
Also, did you notice that the 2 Chief Keef songs got removed from Mansion Music?
No, I didn't. What the heck?
Yeah, Rock Out and Atlantis are both gone. I don't know why.
Maybe something between him and Chief. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Right.
It's CPD. CPD told him to take them down.
Yeah.
Basically. Jasper, what's your second one?
What's the next one you want to talk about?
My next one is probably gonna be our boy Donnie T.
Oh god damn it! That was the one I wanted to talk about the most.
Well, you can feel free. I just want to bring it up.
That was what this. Okay, so Scaring the Hose is probably my favorite album of the year, but it's actually not the one I was most excited to talk about. This is the one I'm most excited to talk about, because I remember listening to it, and I think when I initially reviewed it, I liked a lot of it, but I was initially just so disappointed that I just didn't think Don Toliver had reached his potential, and he's had a few shots to do that, and he just hasn't yet, right? And I still think that's true.
Okay.
But I have come around on this album significantly. I would probably give it a B plus, like A minus now. Right. I do I agree that like the thematic thread that runs through the album is not completely fully baked, but it is there. Like it's not as dropped as poorly as some other albums this year. And I think his performances, not on every song, he has some pretty whack performances, but really it's just 2 or 3. Like I think he's really developing like his style, his swagger. I also think the live show that we saw, which is also part of the Lost episode,
That does help.
like I think that
new dance moves.
Yeah, that recontextualized it for me. I don't know if this is my favorite Don Toliver project because, to be fair, like as a whole, I have not wholeheartedly loved any of his projects. Right? I thought Heaven or Hell was good, maybe even very good, but not great. Life of a Don 2 I thought was boring. Was there another one between Life of a Don 2 and this?
No, but Donnie Womack came before both as the first like mixtape.
I don't think I've listened to that one.
That's like a throwback.
Yeah.
Well, Jasper, what
and
do
then
you think?
yeah, so this is one I wanted to talk about because I grew to like it a lot.
So this one didn't grow on me since we listened to it, and I haven't really revisited. The reason I really brought it up was because the tour being recent and everything else. I feel like, and also another thing, we were talking about it before the show went live, but when this list was coming together, Heroes and Villains was listed, the Metro Boomin project, but that actually came out in December of last year.
Yeah,
so I took it off. But
no, that's fair.
But I was listening to that earlier today, and the Don Toliver features on it are so solid. And I was just like,
no, they really are. They're really solid.
Yeah, I was just like listening through, and I thought to myself, and this is me doubling down on something I've said on this podcast before. I thought to myself, I was like, man, if this motherfucker could get like the songwriting and the instrumentation down and just like make it simple and clean and appeal to a very like wide audience, grab the women in the culture too, right? He totally has the chops stylistically and vocally to be as big as or go on the popularity curve of The Weeknd. I feel like he's got what it takes. It just has not come together, and musically he has not found the stride of like the sound that will do that for him. It needs to be poppier. It can't be like so trap focused. But
it's very trap.
Yeah,
focused.
I think he needs to. I think if his sound was more in line with like Ty Dolla $ign,
totally.
I think like it would totally pop off. I think The Weeknd's a tall order, but I don't hate that prognosis.
I mean, I totally
like
see like his
creative
vocal
lane,
style being unique, and like
Yeah.
that kind of uniqueness shines through, compared to other artists. He doesn't sound like anybody else.
And I think like the reason why I think this album grew on me is because while it's not fully there yet, it has not reached its potential, and that's the biggest downside of that album. And I think we can all agree to that. I think that kind of like lover boy crooner kind of identity, I think that could be it. Like I don't think that's an invalid route for him to go to be unique, and I think like it's not fully baked on Lovesick, but it's there. So like I grew to like it a lot more. I still don't think he's reached his potential, but I don't think this is just his second strike where he has like one more and then I'm out.
No, for sure.
I think this is a foul ball on 2. Like
one thing that did annoy the hell out of me about this project is it's so much of the accompanying media materials, the tour, the videos were so strong aesthetically, and then it doesn't feel like that aesthetic carries over to the album at all. And my cross reference, my other example of this, an example of doing it really well, somebody who hits with this every single time, not in rap, Kavinsky.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of a video, the aesthetic of even an album cover translates through perfectly to the song you're listening to, and it puts you in this mood. It's like it sets you up to expect something.
Yeah. I don't think it was not there at all, but I agree it wasn't fully.
It was weak. It was very shallow.
Yeah, I agree it was half baked. I'm not as critical, but yeah, I had a lot of feelings about that one. That was like the one that like I went back, I re-listened to maybe 10 of the albums on this. yeah, that was the one that I probably had the biggest feelings about. That in Conway.
Yeah, like if I see like a neon lit up diner at night, I expect like some kind of like dark,
Yeah, like I expect
brooding, like
almost
semi.
I expect
yeah.
almost Mr. Kitty. Like
Yeah, or like
Right.
something to that effect. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be some fucking synth in there, Donnie. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And like,
Yeah.
look, I would love if
And it would sound better.
I
would, yeah.
look. I would look the same way The Weeknd like combined R&B and synth pop. I'd love if he kind of combined trap and synth pop. I think that could be
Totally.
a way forward, right?
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Yeah, like I totally think he has the chops to do it. I think this was like more admirable than I originally thought. But yeah, I think like there is the ultimate like Don Toliver question. Like, is he going to fulfill that potential? You know?
Yeah.
All right.
I am shocked that I'm the lowest on this album.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Not, I don't think it's bad, but like I feel like I've listened to it the least between you two.
I mean, I haven't listened to it a whole bunch,
that.
but like the
I've listened to it through twice or 3 times. Yeah.
I've probably listened to it 4 or 5.
I think I'm just stuck on Heaven or Hell, and that's
Yeah.
like a bad mentality, but like it's just what it is.
Yeah, you just
Heaven or
haven't.
Hell is good.
Yeah, you haven't.
You gotta
Look,
fight through it.
yeah, Heaven or Hell is good. Heaven or Hell might be his best project, but like
I think so.
I think Heaven or Hell is probably his best project, but I think like the project that will, I think Lovesick in some ways is closer to like a fully realized potential, even if it's not as good, if that makes sense. But yeah, so do I have to pick
What's
one?
your second one? Yeah.
My second. Oh yeah. You know what? I'm actually gonna come down low a little bit.
Okay.
On one that I've gone down a little bit, not much, but Mumble Rap 2.
Really?
It's because I'm a Belly fan. It's because
Okay.
like Belly is,
So you're being critical.
yeah, I'm being well, yeah, it's just
Okay.
like, and like it's also on like to me like on the Belly scale because like this is one of the only artists who released this year that I have like a dedicated playlist for that I'll just like hit like shuffle and like listen to, and I just think he has like I don't think it's as good as the original Mumble Rap. I think it is far from his best mixtape. I don't think it's like a bad project. I just, by any stretch, I still think it's probably in my top 5 of the year because like I am a huge fan of this guy's style and work ethic. But I think like within the context of his entire discography, it's sifting lower and lower in terms of like how I feel about it compared to his other projects.
Okay.
So yeah, like look, I do like the album. I'm not saying it's bad. I am just saying like in the overall context of his career, it's one that I think is like going lower and lower, Like I think I might like it more than like his first 2 mixtapes as a whole. But not as much as Insomnia, not as much as Mumble Rap, not as much as Immigrant, not as much as, See You Next Wednesday. So like Belly, huge fan. Not a miss, just
Now he said this is the second to last one.
Yeah,
There's
he
one
has
more and then-
this is a mixtape technically, but
Okay.
then again, we're just doing releases. We're counting mixtape.
Yeah. So at least we know he's not done. Is the point?
Yeah, no, he still has an album that is allegedly coming out this year. We'll talk about that later. And yeah, like I think his albums have always had that next step that I really want from him. So I'm hoping we get it. So,
I
yeah.
like this one. I didn't dislike this album, and I really don't have a whole lot to compare it to because I'm not like the biggest Belly fan, so I haven't really gone through his other stuff. One inconsistency or just thing that I thought was kind of silly is just the lyrics on American Nightmare. Basically saying I'm the American Nightmare, but you're Canadian. It's like,
yeah,
why is free healthcare that scary to us?
Yeah. Well, I think I get it. I get
it too.
I
but
get the meme.
The fact that he's Canadian is like silly to me. It reminds me of when Drake said, "I've got fellas who can never leave Canada," and I was like, "Shut your mouth! Shut your fucking mouth!"
It's like I got.
Oh no! Oh no! It must be so hard having affordable energy and fucking free healthcare.
What is
Shut up.
Grand Theft Moose? I don't care.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, yo, they're out here cooking syrup, maple syrup
with a bent spoon.
Yeah,
Incidentally, that was the time at which I could no longer take Drake seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like I don't know. There's some funny stuff on here.
Yeah.
I think that like the writing itself is not always the strongest, but
Yeah.
musically, I think a lot of it's really good. And honestly, the fact that Nav shines on a feature on this is wild to me, and
no,
also
the
like pleasant surprise.
Yeah, no, the Nav song on this is actually my favorite song on the album. She's Just Like Me. Because,
Me too.
Yeah, because she's just like me. Like, it's so funny. Like,
okay, I'll give you that.
Oh my god!
Should we keep going?
Yeah,
or
let's do one more round of stuff we just want to talk about, and then let's do things we haven't gotten to but want to.
Right. One more I want to talk about then, just because I don't know if you all listen to it, so I just want to shed some light on it. The Ketramine.
Nope.
I listened to it. I listened to it one time.
It's so good.
I bounced off.
That's the thing. I was about to say, I think it's really, really good, and I think what they put together is phenomenal. Like the collaboration between the two and the production from them and the actual rapping from them, it comes together very well. But it's like it's missing just like one thing to make it like all hits. Like I think all the songs are like around a 7 or 8 range, where like it's very enjoyable to listen to. I love the experience. Some of the lyrics stuck with me. But like, if it was just one more thing to really make it like this could have been like on Billboard, in my opinion.
That's interesting.
So,
I don't necessarily disagree. I listened to it. I kind of bounced off of it, but I did make it through one time, and like I thought it was good, but just kind of unimpressive and just kind of meh.
That's the thing. It was just missing that little special touch. It was almost there, but in terms of like a new collaboration that we haven't seen before, like this is. It's not as different as Scaring the Hoes in any way, but like seeing, I feel like we at the beginning of the year we had an episode. It was like, oh, our expectations for the year, like our dream collapse. I would have never put this on the book, but I'm so glad that it exists.
Yeah, no, and like I do think it's unique. Like I think it's a very unique sound, even if it's not like the most original. I don't think there's anyone, in as popular as either of these two. Making anything,
doing something like this,
doing something like this. It's not Scaring the Hoes in that it's not unrecognizable, but like, but like it is like unique, at least like in the current landscape. But yeah, I just thought it didn't have any bite. Like to me, it was just like, it was what I was afraid that like Scaring the Hoes would be, like, but yeah, like not a bad album, and also like I don't think I've really given it its due. I try not to give like hard opinions when I've only listened to an album once. But fair. Yeah, so
I didn't listen to this one. Would you like to know why?
Why?
Uh-oh. What's going on?
Nope.
Oh. Oh my god. Okay.
I was so viscerally disgusted. I could not.
I'm not giving you that. Actually,
no.
I'm gonna direct your attention right here.
They're not good enough.
Is that a Mine face in the shoe?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that exists. That's even worse.
Yeah, that's wild.
Waste of good plastic.
God. At least one day it'll choke turtles.
Pee and poop. Those are the colors of the shoe.
Not
yeah,
good.
No, I don't know. I didn't get around to this one, so I can't really comment. But ugly shoes to compliment.
Ugly shoes. No one's gonna disagree.
Yeah.
All right, Jasper. What's your other album?
Guess we got to do it, huh?
We're gonna have to do it.
You guys want to go shopping on a Sunday? You want to go hit up the estate sales?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The estate sale was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. And like, look, when I was listening through the DLC pack for Scaring the Hoes, like I immediately compared it to the estate sale, and I think they're basically at parity, at least in terms of how much I like them. I don't think there's any song on the DLC pack anywhere close as good as Dogtooth.
Dogtooth hits.
But here's the thing, like Dogtooth hits, but I don't like. I listen to the entire thing like immediately because like I like Call You If You Call Me If You Get Lost. It might be my favorite Tyler project, but like I couldn't even remember the other ones. Like I remember liking it.
This is No. How many
So
songs are in this?
my favorite. So there are 8 that are 8 tracks total on Estate Sale itself, like the expansion. My favorite is Stuntman,
I
featuring
liked Stuntman too.
Vince
Yeah.
Staples. That hits. It's got
Yeah,
some
I
really
liked
really good
Stuntman.
lyrics.
Yeah, I liked Stuntman. That was the other one I really liked.
Dogtooth I really like. One that really grew on me that I didn't love at first, but has really grown on me is Wharf Talk, the A$AP Rocky one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one's just like kind of a vibe, kind of just like hanging out, you know.
I gotta re-listen to it.
I also think it's just interesting because, like, yeah, it does seem like what's just like a deluxe release and like what is like really feels like an expansion, something that's like creatively like a step forward, you know? Like, this is nowhere, this doesn't have the same amount of songs as this or DLC pack. Don't have the same amount of songs as the After Hours Deluxe, an album I consider perfect. And
how many songs is the After Hours?
Oh my god, they have remixes of like almost every song.
Oh,
like,
I don't count the remixes.
Yeah,
are
they're
those
like
a part of like the deluxe?
Yeah, and like there's like there's 3 unreleased tracks, which are like pretty good. Yeah. And then there's all the remixes, which I do count because like if you're gonna do a whole ass release for it, like they count for something. I don't listen to them. After Hours is my favorite my favorite album in a very long time. And Scaring the Hose did not change that. And I stop it after the final lullaby. I never listened to that, but I think it counts as a release. Like, and I think it counts as like something that's not like if we're using Tyler's as like an example of like, okay, this is when it does feel like that next step. I think the After Hours is an example of when it doesn't.
Okay, yeah,
that's the point I'm making is that even if it is like a much hot, because it's like with the 3 unreleased songs, it's like 12 more songs. Like that is like an actual second disc worth of music in terms of memory storage, you know. But like it doesn't feel like a second disc conceptually the same way this does, the same way even DLC pack does, you know. So probably the gold standard of this unmastered and Untitled.
Looking at it right here, I'm pretty sure if my math is right that adding up all the tracks for including Everything Must Go, a little skit at the beginning for Estate Sale is longer than Daytona.
I knew you were about to say because I was going to compare this to all the Kanye releases that year. This is essentially the same length.
It's one of those things where like it technically could stand on its own as like a project if it really had to, but at the same time, like,
he could totally have released this like the DLC pack, like as just those 8 songs, and like I would not have been upset by that at all. No. I'm also not upset that he released it the way he did either. I think
me too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are different experiences, but I think in this specific case, I don't think it really like makes a big change.
I gotta say, I think that one area where this stands above pretty much everything else this year is the fact that this is technically an add-on that received like full-fledged fucking videos that are really good.
That's certainly interesting. Yeah.
Like the video for Sorry Not Sorry is wild.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's definitely
and Dogtooth, even that one's like really nice.
Yeah, Dogtooth.
It's just like something different, I feel like.
It's a special touch of Tyler.
Yeah.
It's what he can.
I mean, it's also, I like the way this is structured personally compared to we just talked about Don Toliver, how his deluxe edition came out right after the original and just put 3 more songs at the front of the album, which to me is a sin.
No, front of the album is unacceptable. Front of the album is unacceptable.
I was automatically mad. I was like,
as long as they don't rearrange the songs, I'm okay.
Yeah, I went into that ultimate. Like, I went into that like, fuck this sucks.
But you got the Travis feature.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I was so blinded by how annoyed I was.
So angry. All I saw was red.
Whole lot of it.
Oh god, I was there. Jesus. You beat me by 1 second. All right. Is it my turn?
Yes.
All right. So the first one I want to do, I'm going to do 2 because one's just going to be really quick because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I've only listened to it once today on the train. But I listened to, there's a group called Group Therapy. Yeah, they've had a couple releases. I just watched a Fantano video. I've seen like people on Reddit and Twitter compare them to Brockhampton, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll listen to that. So, and they dropped the album. I was mature for my age, but I was still a child, and I've only given it one listen. And like, it's not like immediately like my favorite of the year or anything, but I'm going to be revisiting it, and it will come up at the Golden Nuggets. It's very good. It doesn't sound anything like Brockhampton, but it certainly scratches that itch for me at least, where it's like mixing R&B, pop, and hip hop all together.
I'll be saving it.
Yeah, so that's the quick one I want to do. The next one, if we're going to do like artists we always talk about, we have not officially put anything about this album out because of the lost episode. I got to talk about Michael. I got to talk about Michael, dude. Like, because one, Killer Mike is one of, if not my favorite rapper of all time. And I have such strong feelings about this album. And the world will never know this, but like I had some complaints. I had some reservations about like where Killer Mike is going, what's he saying. And like Killer Mike has always made that a huge feature of his music. So like I think it's okay to criticize him for that more than you would other artists. And like I still have those criticisms. I still feel that way. But like the stuff I like, I have gone to just fully loving. Like so much of this album just like sings to me. Like it's fantastic. Like it is I do have a few reservations on it still. But it's the one competing with Scaring the Hose. As I've said, like I'm a lyrical listener. And as far as like lyrical content and wanting to get something like substantive and like meaningful like from the words, I don't think anything has topped Michael this year. Like it's like in just every aspect of it, you know, like this album has brought me to tears, like unironically. So like I think this is easily going to be like one of the best albums of the year. I would not be shocked. Like this one might beat out Scaring the Hose by the time we get to December. Like,
get better.
Yeah. Like
you guys.
My thing is that I like the gospel stuff is very, very cool and very, very well done here. But like, I got to give like Scaring the Hose credit for just like pure creativity. Like
it's out there. For sure.
It's out there. And that's what I want. Like I want like, going into 2023, I wanted an album like Scaring the Hose more than I wanted a Michael, if I'm being real. And now here we are, and I feel like both of them are like my 1 and 2 of the year. And like, look, it comes down to like Scaring the Hose, like really impressed me in terms of like overall creative direction and like just the sound and everything. But it was not the full lyrical package I usually want, that I usually come to this genre for. Michael is that. And the aesthetic is wonderful, and that's probably going to be the reason why if it wins out, it wins out. But like, yeah, this was a special one for me, and I really, really enjoyed it.
It's really good. This was one of my favorites of this year. You guys are going to hate me for this, but remember the video from a while back where it's like, by a while back, I mean probably like 2017, where it's like the guy dancing to Collard Greens, and then it cuts to like sad Drake.
Yeah.
He's like sped up dancing, and he's like this and shit, and then it cuts. Yes. That is this album for me, where I'm
that is a throwback. Jesus.
I'm like first 5 tracks, whatever, we're vibing, and then it gets Michael, I am pregnant, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah,
tears.
it's like we are. It's like I'm going to confess to you some of the most intimate thoughts anyone has ever put in a song. And it's
like
insane.
Fuck you, blonde.
And like, yeah, like really, I don't think it's
Purvis's face.
Look, here's the thing. I don't think Michael.
Settle down.
I don't think. No. I'm gonna say this. I don't think Michael is as good as Blonde. At least not yet. At least not yet. But it goes places.
It is very, very.
I think in songs like Slumber, in songs like Motherless, in songs like Songs for the Something for the Junkies, I 100% think it is willing to touch subject matter that like lesser artists are terrified of. right?
Absolutely.
And like, look, one of the biggest conflicts I have on this is Enrich, because I love that song. That song is incredible, but that song is a dedication to a belief system I do not think will work for people, and I think will maximize suffering in the long run. And it's like, oh, okay, like, how do I feel about this? It's an incredible song. Run Up the Millions. Yes, I want to do that. Play that hook for 30 hours. Like,
okay.
But yeah, it's a complicated album, but at the end of it, and also easily the best opener and closer of the year. Easily.
Also, we're never going to have my thoughts on it because lost episode, but I feel like I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. I still think Scientists and Engineers is overrated as like the standout track from that album. I think there are better tracks.
I agree.
There's a reason.
I there is a reason, and like I do think Scientists and Engineers is good, but I agree with you. I think there are better songs.
There are better songs.
There are definitely a lot of better songs on this album.
But the reason that track is stand out, I said it before and I say it again, I think that Andre 3000 feature feels recycled. It feels like the one on Blonde.
Yeah.
The flow is pretty much the same.
The flow is the same.
Yeah, the flow's the same.
But it still slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does. It's decent. It's just like, I don't know.
And also the metagame of it, like I would more likely believe that the one on Blonde, as incredible as it is, just because Killer Mike like has Sunday dinner with Andre and Big Boy. Like I do not believe for 1 second that this was like I totally understand. Same flow, like that's a valid criticism. I just, from the metagame of it all, I totally buy that he was in the studio with them. And
I don't doubt it.
And also I think Don't Let the Devil, beat of the year. Like
that song hits.
Dude, as good as Scaring the Hose is, there's not a single song on Scaring the Hose that has a better beat than Don't Let the Devil. Yeah. The No ID LP production is the world couldn't handle a full length of that. Like
No ID, my mentor.
Or more like Chicago PD couldn't handle me if that project really.
I mean, I'm trying not to say too much because, like, I know we're gonna do it.
Yeah, no, we're not doing a golden nugget for 2023 until we do a deep dive on this album.
I don't want to wear it out, but like, this
yeah,
is the actual traditional hip hop album that we've received this year. There's no other album that's actually been a traditional hip hop album, and this is the only one that even touches the surface of what it should be. And it is because of everything we just described, because of the topics, because of the sounds that go into it, because of the lyric flow, because of the features. It is a perfected 10 out of 10 song. I have cried to more than one song on this album.
Yeah, and not just a song that's called like Shed Tears. Like
that is one of them, but other ones as well.
I shed tears every morning in the bathroom mirror, face to face with fate, gotta face my fears.
Look, everything comes together on this album, and like we said it during the last episode, but this album is literally meant to me. It's a Christian boy listening to hip hop.
And High and Holy
asking for forgiveness while actually giving like a testimony on thankfulness.
Yeah,
in the
time. And like on one end, like I think, you know, the same way I'm sure we're going to talk about Utopia in multiple episodes. I'm sure like if like Rihanna drops this year, we're going to talk about it in multiple episodes. Childish drops
Michael
this year.
is not going away.
Yeah, Michael's not going away, and it will get a deep dive. But yeah, we shouldn't belabor it too much though. But yeah, no, I think is it fair to say Michael is probably like if we had to all agree on one that's like at the top tier, would it be Michael?
Let me just look before I answer.
I would say that musically,
like all
not...
three of us agree on.
Yeah, I would say it's like not my favorite stylistically overall, but like I recognize and I can appreciate what it is, and it's also something that I can listen to and not be like, I don't like this. You know, it's there. Yeah. It's just it doesn't hit like all the boxes for me personally to my taste, but it's like, yes, this is definitively a great album.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be on everyone's top 5, but I think this is going to be an album we talk about a lot at the end of the year, and probably more so than anything else on this list.
Yeah, if you don't count The Estate Sale, because technically it's not his own album, this is my favorite album of the year so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what are you most excited to go back and listen to that you haven't heard?
Okay, so for me, it is Larry June.
I thought you listened to Larry June.
I listened to Larry June's project before this.
Oh,
and I listened to the
I
song
thought you
with,
listened to
and I listened to the song with Big Sean.
Okay.
With The Alchemist, which
Great
was
song.
which was awesome. Yeah, and so Larry June, like it seems like like it kind of seems halfway between like it kind of seems like corporate world Griselda music. It's like
so for us,
yeah, like it seems like almost too good to be true. Also, Boldy James, Indiana Jones. I've been going.
It's really good.
I'm on a Boldy James journey, but goddamn, the Price of Tea of China has a chokehold on me. Besides maybe like Turnstile, the second album I've listened to the most this year. Like
Turnstile hits.
Dude, Turnstile hits so hard.
Real quick, are we going around kind of like round robin again for this, or are we just like calling things out? Okay.
Yeah, we could do round robin.
Cool. I've got two.
Yeah.
That I can think of.
Oh yeah, then those are my two. Yeah.
We'll just do your two, Jasper.
Well, one is one that we didn't add to the list. I just remembered. Real Raw by Jaleel.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
I'm adding that as well. I just didn't know if anyone listened.
Dude, the man who has made a stage presence out of backflipping off of shit.
I think that's
I haven't
cool,
listened
though.
to anything by him except for I sent you guys the reel.
Really?
I've heard the hits, but I sent you both the reel when he did the cover of Party in the USA
It's
for
amazing.
4th of July.
I did not.
So that shit is so funny. I need to go back and actually go.
Hot
through it
take: Party in the USA is a classic. And,
it is. No, I don't disagree with you.
Jaleel's cover reinvents a classic.
It hits. Next, I want to see him do like "We're the Kids in America."
Yeah,
like one of
I
those
would
other
love
like
that.
real corny like 2000s.
I'm gonna say it. Get me an Electric Feel cover by Jaleel.
Yo, why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Yeah, like.
The other one that I want to go back to that I haven't really listened to is Let's Start Here. I listened.
Took mine.
Yeah.
Oh, what am I?
I listened to most of it, but I didn't get through it. I just I don't know why. But time stopped. Like, how long is it? Is it a longer one?
It's not longer.
It's not too long, no.
This is one. If I was waiting to see if we were going to talk about disappointments. I listened to this one for the first time this week.
Oh, really?
I'm not even going to say disappointment because I'm not disappointed. I just don't think it's that particularly good. Like, I think it's fine.
It's like reinventing.
It's prog rock
already.
and it's very, look, I don't think it's awful. I have a lot of love for Lil Yachty. He's dope. This just, it didn't hit for me personally.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the Kate Tremine album or the Janelle Monáe album, which I only listened to like half of, where it's like, oh, I just got to give those. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, yeah. It's a busy album. But yeah, it just is one I'm probably not going to go back to. I got through it once and it's like, I'm good. Like, I thought there's one song up front in it that I thought was like, okay, this is cool. And then everything else was like that again, but like worse and like not awful, but just worse.
The Black Seminole?
Yeah, Black Seminole. That was it. That was the one that was like cool. And like, okay, I can like, this isn't incredible, but like, I can see what you're doing here. And then, like, it just kind of fell off.
Strike is not on this album? I thought that's where.
No,
Strike
that was
came
a single.
Yeah.
That was a single.
It was like Poland, right?
No, there was a newer single I thought with Strike on it. Let me look.
I'm not saying it was released with Poland. I'm saying like Poland's.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, it's completely a rock album. And look, I applaud him for taking the risk. I mean, like, that's what you want. It just, the end product just wasn't great for me. But like, if this is someone's first exposure to this genre, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I
think for a lot of Yachty fans, that's what this is.
Yeah. Like, I don't think like the album I want to compare this to, and like by comparing it to this album, it's going to immediately make this look a lot better. Is the MGK album, his pop punk ones.
You don't even have to tell me what the album is. It's better.
Yeah. Well, yes, but here's the thing, right?
Wait,
it's not,
is it?
Can I please finish my sentence?
Fine.
It's not like a good album, like by any standards, but it is a relatively effective way to get people into that sound, right? It's an effective funnel to get them to better music that they might have otherwise not have listened to, right? This, I think, acts a similar way, just for a much less relevant genre, which is still very cool. Prog rock is cool, but like it's not as popular as pop punk. Pop punk is always one of the more popular genres.
All I was gonna say is this? Are you talking about mainstream sellout?
Yeah,
That's
mainstream sellout. Like his pop, like the 2 pop punk albums he released, right? Like they're not good albums, but they're earnestly pop punk and like, I think a good gateway to get people who have not been exposed to that sound into it. Same thing with this. Talking about a much better album that I should have started with. Beyonce's Renaissance and house music is similar, even though that makes this look like the MGK album by comparison. Like,
yeah.
You know,
can I tell you both about a cursed thought I had on the drive back over here before we started the show?
No.
Okay.
No, continue. Like,
so I was listening to the Conway album, and I was thinking about albums of the year because I looked at the list, and I was thinking about like deciding what I was going to listen to after the Conway album, and I was like, I saw Scaring the Hose on there again, and I was like, oh well, listen to it. I don't really want to go back, but I was thinking of like collab albums, and I was like, what would be like the most, like the worst collab album possible based on the artists on this list? Conway the Machine Gun Kelly.
Jesus.
As the name of an album.
I hate that. My favorite thing is that like
I told you it was a cursed thought. I told
remember,
you.
Yeah, that was a cursed thought. I remember to bring that up in a way that there was a bit we had. There was a bit we had on the 10 review where like in the Big Posse track at the end of 10, Benny the Butcher has like a line about Machine Gun Kelly, but it's like very clearly not a diss. And I'm like, do you think Benny the Butcher is just so fucking real that he just thinks MGK is a rock guy? Like,
well,
do you think that's a possibility here? Like,
yeah, I mean, he hasn't done rap in a long time.
Yeah,
Lace Up was a long time ago.
And like, he fell off in rap really hard for a really long time. Lace Up was a good project, but like that was 2011. He has not put out anything worth listening to since then. Like,
So this cursed thought gave me the idea, like, what would Lace Up era MGK sound like over a Griselda beat?
I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
no, he was a talented rapper back in the day, but like he bit off way more than he can chew, and like he's definitely just horny now, you know. Yeah. So like,
let bygones be bygones.
But yeah, that was a cursed thought. Yeah, I know, Purvis. You should go back and listen to Lace Up. Like
Lace Up is solid. There's some cool songs in there.
I have listened to 6 Nav albums for you, and you can't listen to Lace Up.
I listen to fucking Metallica. I'm not listening to Lace Up.
Yeah, but Metallica's good.
These are not equivalents, Purvis.
Yeah, Metallica's
not
good.
Equivalent.
Like, dude, like I showed you a classic in a genre you don't listen to. You showed me Nav.
I showed you gospel.
Like, yeah, and I liked it. I would do it again. Even. In that regard, in that transaction, we're even. Like
what I would say about MGK, like Lace Up specifically, it's a bit like hip hop junk food in the sense that like there's spectacle to it, and like it's satisfying in the moment, and that like it's like this kind of hits, you know, it's like this is something interesting, or like it's like when they bring back the fucking McRib, where it's like
no, the McRib's great, I love it. I don't care.
Fine, if it's Shamrock Shake.
No, Shamrock Shake's great. I love it. You picked the 2
I think
best
so too.
ones.
I get one every year. Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's like a seasonal item where it's like, oh hey, I haven't had something like this in a while. Remember Eminem? Like remember white rappers?
Yeah.
So it's
remember white rappers that weren't Mac Miller and half of Run the Jewels? Like
legit. It's and Jack Harlow. It's that. It's like there's like a sense of spectacle to it, and it's like it's interesting or fun for like the first, like you listen to it like 2 or 3 times, it's whatever, but then it like overstays its welcome or wears out its welcome.
And like I also think
it's worth listening to.
I also think like he has just sullied his like not his legacy, but like people forget that like Bun B and Waka Flocka Flame and Gucci Mane are on that album, right? Yes. Like it was a relevant rap release when it came out, and like I think it's a halfway decent album, but man, has everything long before the Eminem like situation. Hashtag the whites are at it again 2018.
Hey, don't take my phrase.
Whoa, I thought I gave
phrase.
you the whites are
That's
at it
my
again.
phrase.
But yeah. Anyway, Purvis, what do you want to get to?
The two albums I want to get to, one is a meme, one is serious. So I'll do the meme first. Not even lying. I want to listen to Jack Harlow. I haven't fully sat down and listened to it.
Yeah,
and
no, I
people
mean,
are
like,
saying it's regular music.
I don't think there's any album that's not necessarily worth a listen. I mean, like, I'm not going to listen to every album, but like, if you have the slightest inclination to be like, I want to check that out, especially now where it's like you don't have to pay for the entire ass album, and
Right.
artists can't survive. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Like,
Yeah, I want to listen to Jack, man, because like people are actually saying it was not that bad, and I want to hear what he has to say. And it's not long; it's easy to get through. So that's kind of the meme one, to be honest. The serious one I want to listen to is Dave and Central C. Split Decision is not long. It's honestly like an EP, but like the single I heard from that might be in one of my like top 5 songs of the year.
okay.
It is extremely good, and
Okay.
I've been trying to get more into like English British rap in general, and like that grime scene. So that's something I really want to go back and listen to. I just haven't dived into it just because of all the other crap that's been going on. But those are the two like I really want to get into. But there is one that like I just wanted to discuss in general for all of us.
Yeah.
What the heck happened to Stream for Life? Like no one has talked about it
I've
at all.
look. I'm not.
I don't
like,
even know anyone that listened to it.
I'm not a Ray Stremmon fan. It was just. I always thought of it as like halfway decent, but very sugary pop rap when they were like more relevant in like 2016, 17.
It just has so many hits.
They
Like,
have
what
it,
happened?
and they
I
have
thought
decent.
They would have a fan base.
They have decent hits, but they don't have songs that motivate me to listen to an album.
Okay, that's fair.
And yeah, so like I just like I'm not saying they're like awful artists, awful anything. I'm just saying like doesn't hit
It's
for
just
me.
I'm personally shocked because thinking about like artists who have tried to make a return, I felt like this would be a no-brainer and an easy hit out of the park. You have This Could Be Us, we have Black Beatles, you have Swain, Come Get Her, No Type. Like the list goes on
So many
for
hits.
a very long time.
Yeah, they have a lot of hits.
Like I am shocked that not a single song from this album has been played anywhere. Like normally at some point, like you said, you're eventually going to listen to the song Overdrive by Post Malone just because it's Post Malone. It's going to either come up on TikTok, it's either going to come up on Instagram where you're swiping or something. I am dumbfounded that I have not heard a single beat
No, that's
from
fair.
this album.
That's fair. That's
Me
fair.
neither.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Um,
I just don't think about Ray Stremmon. They don't take up a lot of space in my mind. So it's like
Mhm.
when I see them, and look, all those songs you listed, they're good songs. Those are bangers. Like those are hits, right? But like, I have a question for you. Like, do you think they have any legitimately good albums? Like albums that are good as like a listening experience, like the whole thing?
Better than the Pink Tape, and that just went #1.
Okay.
In my personal opinion.
Okay, man. You got
Can we circle back to Dave and Central C for a second?
Sure.
Sure.
I just looked at I like looked them up. I've got Spotify on my other tab.
Yeah, for sure.
I only just saw the album artwork for Split Decision and then Sprinter, which is
Like the car and the
Do you know?
yeah.
Do you both know the context of this like
No.
artwork?
No.
Entertain me. What's going on?
This photo was taken this year at the Monaco Grand Prix. Basically, a Ferrari F40 got lifted from the dock onto the deck of a yacht as part of a publicity stunt. And like normally I'd be like, yeah, that's cool because F1 and cool shit and cars and whatever. I was looking more into it. Turns out this only happened because this brand called Alter, that is a luxury online boutique, is trying to advertise the purchase and sale of goods using cryptocurrency. And basically it's like another like crypto marketing ploy that they just like happen to take and turn into an album cover. Yeah, that's and cool. It's an F40, which is like a very trendy car right now thanks to TikTok and all this other stuff. But Yeah, it's interesting. I like didn't know that there was like that kind of context behind it because I knew it was like some rich guy originally like did it, but I think he did it in collaboration with this brand or whatever. So yeah, just
I
like
just
interesting.
learned something new. I didn't know that.
It's just surprising me because like that is a very recent image. That image came out like 2 months ago, and it's like, damn, all right, that's the cover. Cool.
Yeah, it's a
It
very recent like EP. Yeah.
it reminds me of when Kanye dropped Ye and had lines about Stormy Daniels, and
Yeah.
it was like, this could have only been written in the last 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. All right. So do we want to do one round of disappointments?
Sure.
Okay, because I have one I want to speak on, and it's one you're not going to think about.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I want to talk about the Metro Boomin Across the Spider-Verse.
yes.
I haven't listened to it.
So here's the thing. It's not bad. And
Okay.
as someone who is making music to accompany a film, in terms of like accompanying the film, I think it's actually incredibly effective. But as like a full listening experience, like on its own, in its own context, I think it's actually a step down from the first Spider-Verse album, which didn't have like a creative behind it like Metro Boomin, which I think is like a really missed layup for him. Right. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is going to be something that like hurts his career or something I think he like needs anything for. No, he tried something. It just didn't really work out as like well. But yeah, no, I really thought this was going to be like something really, really worth talking about. And really it wasn't, you know, I do give it credit for really working to enhance the film, which is ultimately its goal, but it just didn't work as an album for me as much as the first one.
So I have a question for you based on that.
Yeah.
It sounds like that was I think kind of the same thing you mentioned about Intergalactic when we just talked about it for the Emmys thing. So like, would you say that maybe that's like a limitation of just like soundtrack albums in general, or do you think it's just specifically like these two projects happen to be weaker in that way?
I think I don't want to
like
I don't want to discount the possibility that maybe there is a limitation. But to me, I think it feels less like missed opportunities because like it's not like they're bad albums. Like I think there are many worse Kid Cudi albums than Intergalactic. And I actually don't even think that's a controversial statement, right? And you know, Metro Booming, like the only reason why this would be like one of his worst albums is just because of the quality of the stuff he puts out, right? Like he drops classics. So it's like I just think it's a missed opportunity in these two regards, right? Like I think about something like the Black Panther soundtrack, and I think the thing is like in a perfect world, right? It will never outdo the movie, right? Because the goal is for the album to be a huge success, but for the movie to be an even bigger success because that's the primary product, right? So like, and that's what happened with the Black Panther album. That was incredibly popular, but it was not as popular as Black Panther, the movie itself.
I was just gonna bring that up,
right? So like, and hey, maybe that's proof that it's a limitation, that even something that good and that well put together couldn't fully escape the shadow of the media property it's attached to. But then but is that even a fair expectation? I don't know. I don't have the answers to these questions.
We've talked about that extensively before, where it's like, in terms of the album actually standing alone by itself, it loses the meaning almost. When you think about an album as a concept and like, what's the meaning behind it? What's the theme behind it?
But there are
the theme is the movie.
Yeah, but
what up danger does not hit unless you see Miles backflip off the skyscraper.
but then there are like examples of the complete opposite, like Sunflower. You know,
but that's a single.
Sure,
is that fair.
Sure, but it was created for the movie, just like these albums were.
True. You know? I mean, I guess there's like it has to have like a level of universality to it. And I feel like new Mode to a smaller scale kind of does the same thing on Intergalactic, where it's like as a lead single, it's ambiguous enough to not be like directly tied to the story of the film.
Yeah, and like, you know, and I also think like this making entire projects for movies is a relatively new phenomenon. Relatively, you know, like having an artist come on and do a song, That's been around forever, you know.
Or make a playlist, that's normal.
Yeah.
But like not a full album.
Like a full album collect. So who knows? Maybe we'll see it in the future. But I think as of right now, you know, the Metro Boomin was just like, if I'm looking at this and I'm like, what really actually disappointed me, and not an album we talked about last week, it's this one.
I mean,
so
and like I listened to Pink Tape. I to be fair, I liked parts of the Pink Tape way more than anything on this album on its own. So like, even though the Pink Tape, even though once again it's not bad, but like the best experience is experiencing the songs with the movie because they put the songs really forward because they have an artist like Metro Boomin.
Yeah. It's almost like Mike Will made it with Creed. Sorry, but go ahead, Jasper.
No, go ahead. You were just saying.
No, that's what I was going to say. Mike Will made it with Creed and him being the lead producer. Yeah. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. But like J. Cole just came on and did one song, which is still the best hip hop song for a movie this year.
I think, I feel like in the past, it was less so like artists create projects that are uniquely tied to them, and more so artists contribute to scores that underlay a movie. So the one that I think of when it comes to this is Francis and the Lights. Originally, before they got popular through chance, did the score to the movie Robot and Frank, which was actually directed by, I think it's maybe it's Hiro Murai, the guy who does Atlanta Now.
Oh yeah, Hiro Murai, yeah.
I don't know if it's actually him or somebody else, but he also did music videos for Chance and for Francis and the Lights and whatever else. But I just realized I can think of I think it's the first ever example of a film that has a soundtrack exclusively done by a band or like by an artist.
What year was like it?
1967.
That's probably true.
That's definitely one of the first.
Yeah,
because The Graduate.
The Graduate. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's all Simon and Garfunkel, and it became its own separate standalone project with the release of the film. So I feel like that might actually be the first one.
Yeah, but
interesting.
Pause. I cannot believe. Not pause for the actual recording. I can't believe we didn't talk about the Travis Scott A24 Harmony Korine movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we did one topic.
We don't have enough information yet, though, do we? It's just like it exists.
I just hate what Harmony.
Is the rant?
I just hate Harmony Korine.
Why? I don't know who this is.
He's a weird motherfucker.
He's a weird motherfucker. He makes his big hit of a movie
Kids
is about a guy giving AIDS to a bunch of virgins.
Oh.
Yeah. He is I think a lot of like the cultural revolutionary like actual benefits of cinema are by like conceptualizing like big ideas into stories visually. That's the way we've always communicated idea is through story, and like being able to do it visually just like opens up the floodgates to make more people understand it. And like I just see Harmony Korine as like making picture books that play on movie screens, right? And just exploiting poverty. I have a hunch he never experienced, like, to do so. It's just he makes very weird, bad movies, and like I don't think there's a creative in any field that like I have such a repulsion for as like Ryan Lewis. Not Ryan.
Not
Lewis.
Even J.K. Rowling?
No, not even. It's a different kind, right? Because J.K. Rowling's like a bigot who's like funding a extermination program, right? Like that, and like that's not an exaggeration. She wants the UK state to be able to, take kids away from families who acknowledge that transgender people exist.
Yeah, she's right? she's like neutral evil.
She is a political threat regardless of the art she puts in the world. Harmony Korine just makes bad movies, and he's perceived as a genius by people who don't understand, I think, the actual value that cinema offers to the culture. And also he's like a weird motherfucker who's like really sus with girls on set and like he's like not good. He ripped off like I know like Riff Raff's a meme and we shouldn't take him seriously, but he did Riff Raff really dirty for Spring Breakers. Basically, like he used Riff Raff to get Spring Breakers funded because like Riff Raff was a meme and like people knew about it, and like Harmony Korine's not a particularly popular filmmaker. And then he ghosted Riff Raff and casted James Franco in a role where he's doing a Riff Raff impersonation. And like it's actually a really good performance from James Franco, but like it is very clearly like he aped the culture really, really bad. So like, yeah, I just hate Harmony Korine. This would be like if Travis Scott was like, hey guys, the main producer on Utopia is Ryan Lewis and Machine Gun Kelly. Like imagine like if that is the news we got, that I probably am having that reaction, right? Like that's how much I hate Harmony Korine, right?
Okay.
Like
here's a fun piece of Harmony trivia for you. When Gummo was making the rounds, he had already had his taste of success with kids and had some money and stuff, right? Developed a little bit of a drug habit. He went on Letterman in 1997. He got kicked off of Letterman while like off his ass. And the reason was, and it wasn't revealed until much later, but it was
Meryl Streep's purse, right?
David Letterman found him going through Meryl Streep's purse, like behind offset, like behind the scenes, just like looking for money or drugs or whatever.
Yeah. And anyone who says like Gummo, anyone who says they like the movie Gummo should be put on a list. That is 6ix9ine level. Like
I actually haven't seen it.
Yeah. I've seen it because I had an awful roommate who really liked Harmony Korine, and it's poverty porn, and it's gross, and it's just really bad. And also I hate Kids because it's a movie about the AIDS epidemic without any queer people in it. Like
yeah, that's
the main the main victims of this. Like I know it's a subject that comes up, but like 85% of the people who died in the AIDS epidemic were gay people. And like to make a movie about it that's so shocking that completely ignores that fact, I think is borderline irresponsible.
A guy who makes films about AIDS and does a lot of coke, call that powdered milk.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm done with my Harmony Korine rant. But yeah,
one thing I did notice.
This is the thing I don't want. I don't care. Although I have heard rumors that Travis hated the movie and he doesn't want it to come out.
I saw that. I think I sent you something about that where it's like he is not signing off or whatever.
Yeah, he does not want the movie to come out. So I think that's super interesting. So I'm Team Travis. I don't want that movie to come out either.
I'm looking right now. It says that he grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, which on the one hand, possibly money, but also with his family on a commune. So I have no idea where that falls.
Yeah, San Francisco was like the epicenter of the rich hippies that turned into Reaganites. And those were the people living on communes at the time. So yeah, and like I don't. Gummo is an experience where it's like, you ever hear someone talk about Chicago who hasn't left Naperville in 2 years? That's Gummo. Like, all right. So should we move on? Anyone else have disappointments they want to talk about before we move on? Because like I've just steered cleared of the stuff I really don't want to listen to. But like the one that broke my heart was the Metro Boomin.
One thing I do want to bring up, Afterlife. It's not a disappointment, but I think it went a little wide of the mark as far as
he's done better.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be a disappointment. Exactly. It can be a disappointment and still good though. Like that's kind of how
that's fair. Yeah,
that's how I feel about Lovesick. Like that's the thing. Like that's like a completely different vector.
Yeah, I still don't know if I would qualify it as a disappointment. It just kind of is, because I'll listen to any song off of it. I don't have a problem with it. But it's not the hits,
Yeah. All right. So do we want to start looking forward?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
The thing is, okay, so when I made this section, I was supposed to tie everything up. You have another 6 months to go. And so I put most anticipated. And I feel like, mine is obvious. Mine is Travis Scott.
Yeah, well, because it's the one that's announced. It's the big one on the horizon that people are aware of. Right? It's ground zero.
I don't know anything else kind of
there's
on the radar right now.
I don't know of anything super big. Childish said he's dropping. That's something I'm You know,
I mean, Chance have been cheesing,
yeah.
so
I'm gonna give Childish my most concern for flop, to be honest.
That's fair. That's fair.
Chance is gonna be my most concerning flop, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. He's been doing very well, but
you know, there's one. I might be more excited about this than Utopia, but I think it's a high stakes album, and if it doesn't work out, it's gonna really end a career I'm a big fan of.
Doja Cat?
No.
Okay.
Benny the Butcher's first album outside of Griselda, which is being produced by No ID, I believe. I think it's
That's
No
cool.
ID or Alchemist. Yeah, no, it sounds really cool, and I'm into it, and I'm really excited for it.
I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, no, this is something that's all I heard about it. I remember seeing like an infographic where it was like Griselda releases. There's a West Side Gun release that's coming out, I think at the beginning of August or maybe in October. But yeah, like, which is the other one I'm super excited about. But yeah, no, the Benny the Butcher one that's coming out at the end of August is. I'm not concerned for it being a flop because of how much confidence I have in Benny the Butcher, but I do think it's his first time like outside Griselda, and also like Benny's great. Benny, everyone loves Benny the Butcher, who's like into that scene. But he hasn't had his breakout album. He's had like classics that people recognize, but he hasn't had like, he hasn't had his God Don't Make Mistakes. He hasn't had his Hit the Words Hermes 8. He hasn't had like any of those things. And I have one. I have one that I want this album, and it hasn't been announced, but the times are the winds look like it could be pointing to it.
Okay.
I want the full length Doechii album. That's what I want. The full length Doechii off TDE. Yeah.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah, I think she put on EP last year. I think it's totally fair game to think that she could have an album coming out this year. That is by far the thing I want most. And I am excited for the Doja release too, because that first single was really, really good. I think that is absolutely an album that I'm not concerned about being a flop, but I think it's kind of in the similar situation to Benny the Butcher. Now that you say it, like I think
that's why I guessed it earlier.
it could really like catapult her. Like we could be talking about her at the end of the year in the same breath as Travis and Killer Mike, or we could not. Like,
and it's a very important turn for her because she's claiming this is supposed to be like she was joking before, and like a lot of stuff before was memes. So if this is her being serious and it doesn't deliver, it might be catastrophic for her.
And then if there's one other one I really want, because he's released recently, I think he released something in 2021, but he's only released EPs for like the past like 6 years. I want a Vic Mensa album.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I thought the Autobiography was a stellar like first album. And I've liked a lot of the EPs that like have come out since, but but they haven't lived up to the Autobiography. I'm ready. Give it to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did not like his punk album.
He dropped a punk album?
Yeah, it's like 93 punk. It's not great. He has one really good song that goes hard at concerts, but like it's not that great.
Understandable.
So for me, it's like I said, it's Utopia, most anticipated, obviously. Concern flop, yeah, pretty much anything Gambino does at this point. He's stepped away. We'll see if he comes back, what does it sound like? How does it fit into the context of like what's popular, what's not popular, or like how does it fit in the context of, I guess, also like people's attention spans and what people are willing to listen to it with like, because the more I think about it, the more I realize like he really exited like the circles of popular music very quickly after Because the Internet, in terms of like he made his own lane.
No, that's a head ass opinion. Like I think you could say that about like 315 2020.
No, yeah, well that's what I'm saying.
But like Awaken My Love was a dominant record. I'm
not saying it wasn't. I'm saying that like he as an artist just picked a lane that I don't think anybody expected like popular music to arise from it at the same scale of like previous rap or hip hop projects.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody expected a funk album to blow up the way it did based on like him going that direction.
Also, he completely changed everything he was doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's wild. It's just like, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, because when I saw him in 2018, there was a very clear line between people who were there for the rap and people who were there for Awaken My Love. And you could really tell. And like, there wasn't a problem with that. And people like me, you know, I enjoy both sides of it. But I'm curious, like, will the existing fan base and that newer fan base, if he changes styles again or goes in another direction, like, who has patience? Who doesn't have patience? You know, something like that. Or like, does he develop a new fan base, like a third other more different fan base? Like we don't know. And that's like one of those things where I'm like, it's totally up in the air. He could release anything.
Yeah. I have a genuine question for you.
Yeah.
Let's do best case scenario on a creative level. Let's say it comes out and it's like as good as Because of the Internet. Does any of that other shit matter?
Other shit, how so?
Like how it falls, like within popularity, what audience he has. Like,
well, no, as someone who likes
like
camp,
I
no,
like I agree that like he stepped away from music and like there's a certain tightrope act of like, does he still got it? Like I think that's I think that's a valid concern, you know. But I think all that other shit, I don't give a fuck. I gotta be honest. Like,
no, I mean that's fair.
If he puts out an album that's like a market step up in quality from his last one, but it doesn't perform, I honestly like. I might be slightly bummed out, but like it's not going to affect how I feel about the work one way or another.
Sure, personally, yeah, but I think that it's impossible to ignore the snowball effect that popularity has in terms of like the technology that drives the music that we listen to and that people listen to in general, right? Like streaming begets streaming. So it's like the more plays you have, the more you're going to get and so on. And that's how you build this like critical mass. And I think that like it is very important to be conscious of what is popular and caters to that in terms of like serving the algorithm, because those are effectively things that are going to dictate like what is considered like pop for this like the foreseeable period. And like,
yeah, but why the fuck would Childish Gambino want to be pop? He never has been.
I'm not saying that he is, but what I'm saying is that I'm not using pop in the sense of pop music, but in the sense of like what is popular culture, like the zeitgeist, whatever. And he captured that and he harnessed that with This Is America and Awaken My Love and everything else that came with that. But what I'm saying is like, as the trends continue to get like shorter and shorter and shorter, and the window for artists to like make a splash seems to continue to get shorter as attention spans like change and roll to the next thing. If you're an artist who seems to specialize in these like longer, more like long form content heavy projects, how do you stand out, especially after you've been gone for a while? That's like my thing, I guess.
I don't know. I gotta be honest. I aggressively and completely disagree. I think that there is a common adage among like creative people and artists that people don't know what they want. And if you chase the trend of what's popular, you're just going to wind up lost in a sea of noise because everyone else sounds like you.
No, right? I agree. You know, I'm not saying that's not
and
the case.
I think like by, you know, doing all those, I think doing all those calculations is what got him in this place in the first place with 30-15, 20-20, right? So I think like he needs to come out and just make something good and unique, and the people will follow because that's how it's always worked.
I think that's fair. I think there's a balance. I mean, I think about Just Wanna Rock, which is like,
yeah, sure. I don't think you should make a harsh noise album, but like I don't think anything within the purview of what Childish Gambino is likely to make would be anything. You know, I think what he needs to focus on is making something worth listening to.
No, of course.
I think everything else is, you know, at best set dressing, at worst a distraction.
I know, but I guess. So we've walked down this path, and I think the end point of this would be like, he does that. He makes something that is really great, whatever. But at the same time, even if it's an excellent project, and there are lots of excellent projects out there that just don't get the flowers, right? Sure. And that's, I think, what I'm trying to get at is like, he could make something really, really great that just does not receive any type of recognition for being as good as it is, just because it doesn't have that critical mass or that volume of audience that he used to have because he dropped regularly or because he was more in step with what was culturally relevant, yada, yada, yada. So my concern is that it's like, even if it's good, who's to say that it's actually like received well and understood by an audience that is like larger than just his hardcore fans? And not that that even matters, but it's just one of those things where it's like, in the interest of getting good music into the hands of the masses, right? Like if it's good, we want people to be able to experience it and it to be accessible.
More fun to share music.
Exactly, that too. Yeah, and that's one of those things about The Weeknd that's so well. That's one of the things about The Weeknd that's so cool. The Weeknd is this massive stadium sellout, billions and billions of listeners, but the music,
1,000 people all singing together.
Yeah, but the music is actually also like critically very good.
Yeah.
There are not many artists where there's an overlap like that, where like the music is critically really good and they have such broad appeal. And what I'm saying is like, I don't know. I think that like Childish Gambino is capable of making good music, and I think he's capable of making good music that is also popular in the sense that it can be shared and enjoyed by more people, and like that's important in the experience of it if you're like a concert goer or whatever else. But I think that there's been a little bit of deviation with 31520 in that respect.
Sure.
And it's like,
I think that was a slip up of his album. I think that was they can't all be zingers, and that sure shit wasn't one. You know, but like, I don't know. I guess like if he puts out this excellent piece of work that just is ignored, I guess that's a beautiful end to a career. And like, especially with someone in this exact context, like he'll go make a movie or something. Like,
yeah, he will.
And
I mean,
like,
it's inevitable.
So that's why I think in this exact context, like he just has to focus on making something worth fucking listening to.
For
right?
sure.
Because
I just want people to resonate with it is what I'm saying.
Sure.
I want people to understand like what he does.
But I think it's better for anything to be like from the heart and discovered over time than to be, you know, make a big splash and then be forgotten.
Sure. But I think there are things that can make a big splash and then stay around, like After Hours, for example.
Sure. But like After Hours didn't make the huge, I don't think After Hours made it built after years, you know. I think The Weeknd's success is because of when After Hours released. And once again, that's a perfect album. Like, but like, you know, I think there was a lot to build. I think like, you know, he also had the Uzi effect of having massive singles on that. So like, it's a puzzle box, right? Speaking of which, well, you put The Weeknd. Never mind. Okay.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I guess my other one, so that was anticipated and concerned. Something else that I'm like looking forward to that's not confirmed that I'm waiting for. Pusha T, DJ Drama.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Give it to me.
Yeah, no. He said it should come out this year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's been quiet. Like,
another one that I'm like extremely anticipated for, right? And like I think is gonna have huge end game results for me as far as like the golden nugget at the end of the year. I think is Cortana, which is the new Danny Brown solo. So
is that
like,
coming out this year? I didn't even know.
It was supposed to come out before Scaring the Hose. Yeah,
like, Danny Brown wearing Master Chief armor. What is this?
Yeah, it's spelled differently. It's a Spanish word. But yeah, just because of how much I like Scaring the Hose, like if this is Atrocity Exhibition on top of it, holy shit, what a fucking run. You know, like, you know, I don't think any one album could like top that, like if we're talking best case scenario. But also it's been quiet on the front, so I don't know if it's coming for sure. But like he said it will, so
can only cross our fingers and hope.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go last.
Okay. Well, see, I'll start it up. My first one is going to be an absolute classic, in my opinion, that was never officially released. It's going to be Kendrick Lamar dropping cartoons in stereo. I feel like this is a defining sound of his early career.
Yeah, that was mixtape Kendrick Lamar. That was like one of the first songs of his I really, really loved. Yeah, no, this is a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. Hell yeah. Good one, Purvis.
All right, Jasper.
My first pick is gonna be an overlooked song off of a beloved album, "Laugh into the Bank," Chief Keef.
Nice.
That is
I like that. Okay.
Love that.
I
Love
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
that little laugh gets me every fucking time. It came up on my shuffle the other day. I was in the car.
That's very funny.
Whole album slaps.
Okay.
Whole album.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, I am going to recommend what I think, following a trend from last week. I think this is just one of the best songs of all time. I've been doing my research before my next concert, which is watching a lot of visual albums. I'm dropping clues as to who it might be. And I watched the Beyonce Homecoming visual album. And I have to say My Name by Destiny's Child is one of the greatest songs ever written. I watched that. I could not stop listening to that song. Excellently written, excellently musical. Absolutely uses those three incredible singers to the maximum. They're all they're all on one song singing different parts. It's fucking crazy.
No arguments.
Dude,
argument.
Undoubtedly one of the best hooks of all time. So yeah, Say My Name, Destiny's Child. And boy, if they're low key, one of the concerts I want most on my wish list of things that probably will never happen, Destiny's Child reunion.
Okay.
I want
I'll
that.
be there.
I would be there. I love Destiny's Child, dude.
Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. Man, you are in full your girl has you in full preparation.
Dude, Beyonce is a goat. She's
not against
yeah, she's fantastic.
I'm not against it.
But yeah, no, she's she has me watching all of Beyonce's visual albums before the concert like it's a fucking Marvel movie.
That's
full
amazing.
preparation. You need to know every single word.
I'm excited. Friday we're doing Lemonade. That's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, I like that. My second song, I always pronounce the artist incorrectly.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few
J cool.
No. Bon Iver.
Bon Iver, yeah.
Bon Iver.
Yeah, you got it mostly right.
This is one of the very few artists that as a young black male, I am shocked and proud to know who this person is.
Yeah, Bon Iver.
Because
Bon Iver's
not
too
a lot
white
of people.
for me. When Yeezus came out, I was like, oh, I've loved Bon Iver. I'm gonna go into a Bon Iver phase. Couldn't do it. I found Hosier instead, and that was what I wanted Bon Iver to be.
Sometimes I walk around the house by myself, and you know how you two will shout ad libs at each other or text them to each other. Sometimes I'll be at home and I'll just go, "I'm up in the what?"
I mean, it's a great song, so I'm not mad at you.
Have you heard the original?
I am proud. Yeah, I've heard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am proud to actually know all of his discography.
Yeah. No, he's a great artist. It's just not for me. No.
But I'm gonna do Skinny Love, absolute classic among classics for him. Can't recommend it enough. If you do not know who this is, I would
Run, Don't Walk.
Run, Don't Walk. All right, Jasper, what's your second one?
So my second one, I've been coming back to Man on the Moon 3 a lot recently.
Dude, I love that album.
That album slaps.
Dude,
so
I was
good.
so primed to not like that album, and it blew me away. I love that album. Yeah.
Yeah, I have more than half of it in my likes just to come up on shuffle. And I actually just recently showed my girl and I will sometimes just show each other music videos. If we don't have the attention span to watch a show,
I do that all the time.
We'll go back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, we have ADHD, so we are doing that most times.
Vibes.
Yeah,
but I showed her. I got an exception to show the videos for She Knows This and Heaven on Earth back to back because they're related. They tell a story. It's part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And that shit hits. But the song that has been coming up with my shuffle more regularly from this that, obviously I'm a big fan of at least 2 of the 3 artists on it, Show Out, featuring Skepta and Pop Smoke.
That was a decent one. Yeah. I thought
Cody on a Pop Smoke beat is
an
experience.
That was not one of my favorite songs from the album, but it was very illustrative of why I liked the album, because I liked that it was not cleanly front and back, but interspersed. Half of it was Cudi going in new directions and trying new things, and half of it was classic Man on the Moon 1 and 2 style songs.
Yes.
And I think he hit the perfect balance. And yeah, Show Out's not one of my favorite songs on that album, but I think it's illustrative of him. Like, yeah, he's trying new things, and like it's working. It is 100% working. It's not a skip, I'll tell you that much. Like
this one grew on me. I didn't love it at first.
It grew on me too.
I thought that it was like a little rough, but then I realized, like, in the context of Heaven on Earth, having that kind of like heavy bass line from the prior track, it's like it works, and then it chills out and it goes into Solo Dolo Part 3. So I didn't have a problem with that, but there's a lot of cool like experimental stuff on this album.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to recommend my last one, and this is a bit of a doozy. So something I'm trying to do is I'm trying not to recommend the same artist I really love over and over again. But unfortunately, I can't do that this week because of it. I would really try and refrain from laughing right now. Because well, I'm in the middle of losing someone who's very important to me.
It was the introduction.
Yeah, I know.
The way you said it.
I know.
Because I'm so guilty of that. It's like, hey, King Huddy.
Yeah, I know.
It was the introduction, but yes, I am preparing myself.
Yeah, no, I would. So, I'm in the middle of losing someone who's like really important to me, and it's been a hard week. And I revisited an album that I revisit when I'm feeling sad, by an all-time favorite artist. Came up on this podcast, Run the Jewels. Okay. I'm recommending Thursday in the Danger Room. Thursday in the Danger Room is a meditation on death and like how to handle it. And I don't think I've showed Purvis this song many times, like to see how he felt about it. And I don't think I think like in the decade it was released, I don't think any hip hop song comes close in terms of like depth and like really getting at something. Right. And like LP's verse in the first half of the song is about exactly what I'm going through. Right. Like waiting and seeing how it's happening. And it really, listening to this song, it was a very emotional experience. And it was it reminded me of why I really love music, because it felt like two of my favorite artists, like reaching out and like talking to me about what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I recommend that song, Thursday in the Danger Room.
Oh yeah.
No.
I like that.
That's why I wanted to go last, because like now I'm not going to be able to do any more podcasts. Like,
understandable.
Yeah. So.
No, I got you. And we're hoping for the best. And
Purvis, remember to post my suggestions on the Instagram. Like,
I'm literally making it right now, and you're going first next week, just to make sure.
Oh my god, I had to cut the tension. Anyway, guys, this was a hell of a recap. I think we did a great job.
Yes.
Write down this format. We're gonna do it every year in July.
Like, I literally save every episode.
Yeah, right. This is a good format. So, all right, guys. Until next week.
Until next time.
All right, guys.